when it comes to my
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Trying out a couple of new songs I picked up, trying to see if something feels right. You know, always got to try to change it up once in a while. Let me know what you think. For those who popped in here with the new music, just go to that chat box down below and give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. It's that simple. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, December 9th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, we are only 15 days and a wake up. 15 days and a wake up from Christmas Day basketball. I personally can't wait. I think we're going to have an exciting time as we go ahead and get ready, ladies and gentlemen, to find out who are buyers and sellers in the NBA. Shout out to all of you who make Hoop Spaces what it is. I appreciate you making any part of your day part of our day. Back here, building a better basketball community, one day at a time, one person at a time. Got a whole bunch of new dope Pelicans followers. Shout out Rails Pels for that help. Yesterday's show, I said that I believe Trey Murphy might go down NBA history with the most 50, 40, 90 seasons. And I am not backing off of that. 48% from the floor, over 40% from three, 95 from the free throw. It's there. It's there if he wants it. So shout out to Rails Pels and all of Pelicans Nation as we go ahead and get ready for the Zion Williamson MVP surge, because it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't believe me, that's fine. I'll just be able to play I Told You So later. They are first in the West, and we all understand that generally the top teams garner the most attention. Zion is a fantastic player, and you have to ask yourself, would the Pelicans be in first place if it wasn't for Zion? Anyway, I'm going to hit the regular theme now. All right. Welcome. Friday, December 9th, 2020, to Hoop Spaces. Only 3 games last night. We'll definitely get into that. We'll talk some Zion Williamson, as well as Luka, Steph, Giannis, and Jason Tatum. Those are my 5, ladies and gentlemen, in the early MVP voting. With only 3 games, there's plenty of action scheduled tonight, and you can catch tonight with me starting at 9 o'clock over on Playback TV. I'll get that up here. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. That is right, Slam Goods. We'll get that tweet up here. SlamGoods.com, where you can go get all of your collectible and apparel needs to help express your fandom for the greatest game on the planet. And speaking of the planet, Sunday morning, the Orion rocket returns to the blue marble in the black sky My eyes will be on that Sunday morning. So there's your science segment in the opener. Last night, we had a game winner by Jamal Murray. We have the Spurs flexing on the Rockets, and the Clippers play so bad that the question that I have is, why did the Heat only win by 5 points? Down below, if you want to say what's up, you can hop into the chat box and say what's up like TJ always does. Let's give a shout out to TJ. If you want to come up on stage, go ahead, raise those hands like Joe the Historian. But I do ask that you like and retweet the show card. We also have a newsletter, totally free, recapping all the games. Peruse the news to give you the best stories, give you player interviews from reporters that I have relationships with, so you know that they're on the up and up. Go ahead and subscribe for free. I'll get that tweet up here because apparently review's having an issue. It's not auto-loading like it's supposed to. Big ups to all of the content creators in the review today. Justin Patton has another YouTube reaction video you can see on the Hoop Spaces YouTube channel and his own JP the Franchise channel. And there you go. Yeah, that's it. Hey, for all of you that were here early, do me the favor, hop in that chat box and tell me which is better, the song that you heard on the intro or the regular intro song. Really, really would be interested to know what your opinion is. And with that, welcome. As I'm brewing some green tea and having my bottled water ready next to me by my side. It's a glorious Friday. You can hear it in my voice. I feel much better than I did yesterday. I do worry, though, that I get hit with this rebound thing. But, man, it feels good to be able to breathe through your own nostrils. I tell you what. Last night, 3 games. Miami, 115. Clippers, 110. That is the Miami Heat and Los Angeles Clippers. Last night, opening 7:30 NBA TV game. Bam Adebayo, 31. Paul George, 29. We'll get more into that. The Houston Rockets lose to San Antonio in San Antonio, 118-109. Keldon Johnson, man, Keldon Johnson, 32 points in an amazing first quarter. Jabari Smith Jr., I tell you what, I put a tweet out a couple of days ago. I asked if Jabari Smith Jr. was the player on the Rockets that had the highest ceiling, and some of you are going to owe an apology, I feel, and I told you so segment coming up. Nikola Jokic was dominant, but not dominant enough to stop Damian Lillard from putting the Portland Trailblazers up with 8 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. But have no fear, Nuggets fans. Jamal Murray back in shape in the fourth quarter, hitting the game-winning shot with 0.9 seconds remaining for 121-120 victory. Damian drops a 40-piece, and Jokic drops 33. Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant kind of struggled, and if they struggled, Portland was still competitive, and you got to take that as a positive sign. However, you also have to understand that Denver is still at the top next to Memphis and New Orleans, and I tell you what, they're not healthy either, and they have moves to make their team better. And that's why when we get up to Christmas, it's going to be interesting because to me, that is the beginning of the trade season. All right, if you want to come up, now is a great time to raise those hands, like and retweet the show card. I see Joe and Micah are already ready, as they always are. So we'll go ahead and say good morning, and we'll get the basketball talk kicked off there. Shout outs down below to some people who pop in every day. I do want to say what's up to Warren, McKenzie, Santa Rosa. I see CT Pittman in the building. Look, the Lounging Lawyer's in the house, man. Lounging Lawyer, I love that dude. He's absolutely hilarious on Twitter. Good follow. You can also see Nick is in the building. And shout out to Nick. If you know, you know. And if you're not, you're too late. It's okay. Kent, the old clam in the mud flats of Portland is here. We got John, Evan, Rails, Pels, and Wholesome O. And Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod. All right. We'll just say good morning first. We'll start off with Joe. Joe, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. How you doing?
I am well. I feel way better than I did yesterday.
I'm gonna tell you something. I watched the fourth quarter of the Heat and Clippers game, and the Clippers are in trouble. That's one thing. But I tell you what, Jamal Murray was about to get your new. I don't know if you can name it yet. The PJ Tucker Award if he didn't hit that 3 at the end because he wasn't that good yesterday. I'm just saying.
All right, definitely appreciate it. We'll get into that game. Micah, good morning. How are you? Yeah, man, I'm glad you're doing good. I hope you had your coffee.
Man, hey, look, Chris, I was in the middle of stuffing my face with pupusas, so it took me a second. How you doing this morning?
I am well for another second time in a row. I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Right on, right on. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to my fellow TJC alum, Jimmy Butler. Man, I watched that quarter and just like recognizing that this guy got his start at JUCO to being the player that he is now is just amazing. Love to see it. That's my one thing.
All right.
But other than that, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, you know what? Jimmy Butler, Pascal Siakam. There's a couple other guys out there. Fred VanVleet. These guys who went to lower schools. Jimmy's probably the grindiest out of all of them, starting out at JUCO. It's a great story. You cannot hate him. Like I said it before. If you do not like Jimmy Butler as a basketball player, like you're not a fan of basketball.
I heard he's the most clutch after Damian Lillard, but that's what I heard.
You heard what?
That Jimmy Butler is the most clutch player after Damian Lillard. That's what I heard. They said it yesterday. They said it yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, clutch can have so many different meanings, I guess. I don't know. That's an interesting question. All right, look, it's an easy Friday with only 3 games. I am not going to lie. I am awaiting word from the NBA Launchpad program. I submitted the application prior to the deadline in hopes of becoming a partner in the viewership experience. And I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty anxious. That is something that is a dream, right? To be able to work with the league hand in hand to develop content would be dope. So if you do kind of hear me trail off as I might be looking at something else, I do apologize. That might be the email that I'm desperately waiting for. Down below,
you, brother.
Oh, appreciate it. Down below in the chat box, I want to go ahead and say what is up to TJ, who always comes in, says good morning. Check this out. He says he likes the regular intro. Appreciate it, TJ. Justin Patton, the YouTube coordinator, is in the building. If you are a content creator on YouTube or you want to get into it because you watch what Justin does and you think you can do it, we are here to help. He's willing to get your stuff on our YouTube channel. And if you need help setting it up, all you have to do is watch what he does because he does it perfectly. It's real easy, ladies and gentlemen. Real easy. Shout out to Rels Pels. Go ahead and shoot her a follow. Host of the Pels and Whistles podcast on the Believe Network. And I'm telling you now, she's going to be really big in that market. Already getting to, interview players such as Trey Murphy III. So if you want more Pels content on your timeline and somebody, like one of the things I enjoy, she goes out to establishments, right? and she talks to fans and she has this great game. I actually have done this game as well. And it's where she is bringing up old players of her team to other fans. And like, these are fans who are going to tell you they are diehard fans and they do not remember or they get the name wrong. It is absolutely hilarious. I love it. I'm not going to lie. Shoot her follow. It's worth it. All right. 6 of the 12 also wants to come on up. We'll go ahead and wait for him and we'll say good morning. There is a question. All right, there is a question. And first, I did not realize I would have to qualify said question. Who wins this 3-on-3? This was a talk that I had with an older gentleman last night at my son's swimming practice. The dream team trio of Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Irvin Magic Johnson, Larry Bird versus Kobe Bean Bryant, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. Who wins that 3-on-3 matchup? Lots of people already chiming in. If you haven't yet, go ahead and put your thoughts up there. We'll go ahead also and get in some college scores in a couple of minutes after we say good morning to 6 of the 12. Good morning, 6. How you doing?
Morning, Chris. Everybody, retweet the show card up there on the big board. Man, it's been a minute, but I just want to say thank you for having this space. I know that I've made it part of my routine daily for about a year now, and I just want to say thank you for doing this. Most people get sick and tired of watching ESPN and different things like that where there's narratives, and I just love hearing actual fans of the team who watch way more basketball of their actual teams get the opportunity with this platform to speak on. But yeah, no, Rail is an absolute legend in the Pelicans organization within the fans. She's the starter of the 6-12, of the Pels 12 and all that, along with JJ Redick. Obviously, we had to give him his props. But no, man, I'm excited to go tonight to the game. What I'm looking forward to is hopefully seeing the Pelicans stop the high pick and roll with the Suns. It seems like every time we play the Suns, that's just the one thing that we cannot stop for some reason when they put Jonas up there on that. So that's what I am interested to see tonight. But good morning, everyone, and I'll be up here.
All right. Well, we're also going to get in when we talk about the games tonight because I'm going to jump the gun. Right. I put out yesterday and I put out twice. This incoming Zion Williamson MVP campaign about to be crazy because it's going to happen. Like it's gonna happen if the Pels continue to win, and I think we all have to just go ahead and understand that it's okay. And that doesn't mean he's gonna win it. You have to understand the point is to have him in the conversation, right? So if you put it like I did in the poll that I just added, like Zion Williamson in the top 3 MVP, well, he's the best player on the best team in the West, performing at an incredible pace. And Jason Tatum, the best player in the East on the best team, performing at an incredible pace. And then you throw in another candidate who's just outproducing everybody in the league right now, and Luka. And there you go, a top 3 argument. You cannot deny it. It's going to happen. Just get used to it. All right, first game up, Clippers and Heat, ladies and gentlemen. I watched this game. I conversed with my friends in Heat Twitter. Shout out to the pool party if you are down below. I asked this question, what is wrong with Miami? Because the Clippers were playing like ass last night, and they should have been up by 10 or 15 in the second half, and yet they were struggling, giving up 33 in the third until they finally pulled away behind Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler didn't lead the scores, but he led the scores when it mattered, scoring 8 points in the fourth. By himself, essentially almost back-to-back, 3 times back-to-back. Bam Adebayo, 31 and 10 with a double-double. Tyler Hero, 19. Caleb Martin, a lot of people were deriding him starting at the 4. He was phenomenal in the second quarter. At one point hitting 5 for 5 3-pointers, but then they took away 3, finishing the night with 17, 4 for 8 from deep. The Los Angeles Clippers, as you heard Joe, are in trouble. They did not have Kawhi Leonard. Paul George, 29, 8 and 7. Reggie Jackson, 20. But that was it. And if you watched it, it was kind of an eyesore because you would have times where Marcus Morris and Nicholas Batum seemed to be, covered in stone, standing in the corner. You would have 2 players keying in on Paul George and the other one, running around, next to Reggie Jackson. That was usually Drew Smith. And it really just made life difficult. And when you put Paul George in that position to lead the offense, you saw what happened when they negated everybody else. It gets stagnant. Do want to give a shout out, though, to Brandon Boston Jr. He got 14 minutes. He had 7 points, 3 boards. I really, really like this kid's talent, and I do think that he's actually a long-term piece for the Los Angeles Clippers if this current iteration doesn't work out. If you caught this game and you got something you want to say, go ahead and get ready to raise your hands. I'm going to give a quick round of shout-outs to some dope people. Sean with a W from Live from the Mecca is in the building. Jose from 77 Spaces, also in the building. 2 of the content creators here are creating content for you on Hoop Spaces. And like that, as you heard, 6 is how it all started. We all just kind of got tired and we wanted something different. We'll go to Joe first, who first spoke about this game. Joe, the Clippers are 14-13 when they're healthy. They have performed well, even with Kawhi Leonard in and out of the lineup. What are your thoughts again on this game, real quick, before you don't need to say they're in trouble? I want to know what you saw, good, bad, and indifferent for Miami and LA. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, you actually said it. It looked like Patu and saying the other guy, they was walking in stone, and then the Heat basically they didn't have no other. I mean, they ain't had no other choice but to to double Paul George because he's the only star out there. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, this management, what is it doing for y'all? I mean, like, why is he missing so many games? I just like saw him sitting at saying there, and I just didn't get it. But I guess people know better than me. But it seemed like that. It's like they double teamed and triple teamed Paul George because he was the only person out there. So I don't know. That's why I think they're in trouble.
All right. Well, what did you see from Miami that you liked?
Nothing. I mean, I'm not. I mean, basically, if Tyler Hero and Max Strus is not hitting, they ain't got no bench. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna need Jimmy and Bam to save them most nights. So, I'm saying I really see nothing from Miami.
All right. Anybody else want to hop in on this game? Wow, man. All right. I do have some positives. I do want to share some positives. The first positive is Caleb Martin. He had a game high 40 minutes. He has developed into a reliable shooter. He started out in Charlotte with his twin brother, and over the course of his career, has actually blossomed out into a double-digit scorer. As he's actually having a career year, averaging 11 points. The cool part about it is he's continuing his shooting efficiency that he had last year, shooting 48 from the floor and 41.5 from 3. And that is something that we have to go ahead and give credit for, because I remember watching both of them, and I thought they were athletic players in their own right, but I didn't think that they were going to develop into much. And like, when you look at it, he's probably the closest thing that the Miami Heat can get to a Trevor Ariza type. I don't know if he's going to ever have the defensive prowess of Trevor Ariza, but he definitely fits that mold as a defensive wing who can shoot the three. So I do want to give him some credit. I also want to say it was very interesting to see Drew Smith in the starting lineup. I said a couple of times in the chat, he seems to have flat feet on defense, but I tell you what, he is not scared to mix it up with anybody, getting into it a couple of times with Paul George out on the wing when they were trying to single him out. So I thought that was a pretty good performance. And then Tyler Hero, he had a rough shooting night, but once again, he proves that he's an all-around player. 9 rebounds, as well as 2 steals and some really good defense in that fourth quarter to help spark that run. All right, so I guess that's it for Miami and LA. Nobody else got anything? Look at that. JFK and John want to come on up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to come on up, raise those hands. Make sure you retweet the show card. We have JF up top, and we have John up top. We'll go to JF,
Hello.
a resident Heat fan for the morning show. JF, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's not your turn yet, Trigger.
Sorry.
We'll get you. You good. JF, what's up? Oh, yeah, he's got that Bluetooth going.
Hey, Greg.
What's up, John? Go ahead and take JF's time as he goes ahead and gets ready to cruise into work.
I'll just say this. We're a mid team in a conference of mid, whilst Miami is in a kind of mid team in to quote Sean is a cluster F of a conference. So we're all just biding our time, and hopefully everything goes right. I'm more happy about what Musa Diabate and Jason Preston put up for the G clips later that day. So, you know, again, we'll just take everything as it goes. We just have to deal with all the whether who's available or not. We just need to be not sloppy when it comes to taking care of the basketball, and everything will be well okay in general. So we'll just have to take our lumps if we win or we lose. I'm kind of disappointed we couldn't get a split minimum in this Florida swing, but that's how it is. And fortunately, we're in a conference of mid, so we'll just take where we are and go with it.
All right, and if what you're wondering down below, it is because the Los Angeles Clippers also lost to the formidable Orlando Magic. Yeah, rough East Coast swing for the Los Angeles Clippers. Appreciate it, John. JF, you're up next. What did you see from your Heat and this 115-110 win here?
Morning, Chris. Yeah, last night, man, I saw greatness in mid form. Look, we are not having a great season whatsoever, and we're starting off rough. And to be honest with you, I don't know what's better or what's more important. Is it us losing these bad games to the Detroits, or us beating these teams like the Celtics and Clippers, and Portland and Golden State? Like these are the questions that bother me, Chris. And to be honest with you, last night I thought we were gonna have a little struggle in the point guard position, but again, we find these two-way guys from the G League that can come in and have a little spark. I think Bam is still deserving of his All-Star spot. Last night proves it again, where he was just popping off in the first half and he was unstoppable against Zubac. Zubac looked like he couldn't even do anything against Bam defensively. Jimmy is already in. Looks like to see playoff. He's already in championship mode. I think he's waiting for the rest of the team to catch up with him and the way he's playing. But again, yes, I had this conversation earlier, and I have to say I put Tyler Hero over Trae Young this year just because he's not. If he doesn't get his scoring, like you said, Chris, he's been getting like 9 to 10 to 11 rebounds a game. It's a huge boost. His assist is there, and to be honest with you, he's creating more of a open space for the other guys to go ahead and work. So one thing that we did do is we did share the ball a lot, and we did average more points in the paint. So with those two things, that usually is a recipe for our win. But Chris, I'm still not satisfied, but I'll enjoy this win. And last night proves that Miami Heat is still the most hated team because yeah, it's too much bad talk on us, Chris. Especially if there's people that didn't even like the Clippers or whatnot, this and that. A lot of two-faced people. But what happened with John Wall, Chris? That's my question. I thought he was really gonna come back, but it looks like he's a shell of himself, man. He looks like a Raymond Felton right now.
What shell of himself are you expecting?
I don't know, man. I don't know. He just
I
doesn't
don't
look
know,
that
but
good.
I saw him once put up 26 earlier this season. So we're not expecting John Wall to be Washington John Wall. So we're expecting him to be a good platoon alongside Reggie Jackson.
Yeah,
So
and I understand that. And John Wall didn't have any injuries, so. But if you look at some guys like Victor Oladipo, who did have a serious injury, like he looked amazing last night again too. Glad to see he got his step back a little bit. He got some good shots off, so I'm not even going to be too mad about it. But Chris, we got to give some respect to Caleb Martin. I don't know how much more games he needs to have for him to start getting his respect that he deserves.
Yeah, I just said a whole bunch of positive things about Caleb Martin. Like,
I
he's
know,
doing
Chris.
great.
You're a realist in certain ways. But I still got to question you on your food takes and these questions you have popped up. Like some of them seem a little bit too easy. Some of them are kind of set up to set people up. I don't know, Chris, but yeah, when it comes to basketball, yeah, you know your things. And to be honest with you, Chris, I will say this. I still think we need to get a 4. I know Caleb's doing his thing, but I still think we need to get a 4. But the only piece I can really see us getting rid of right now is the Duncan Robinson for any 4 that's available. So I'm not sure who's willing to take that trade. Maybe Julius Randle?
No.
If would you put Bojan Bogdanovic at the 4 though?
I'll take it.
But
I'll
of
take
course
it.
you would know the requirements for Detroit to pry away with that guy.
Oh, they wouldn't be able to trade him anyway. They just signed him to an extension.
Yeah. But
Who,
you know
Bogdanovic? Oh, damn.
Yep, they just signed him to a 2-year extension to his contract, and I think maybe he has a 5-day window before the trade deadline. I have to double check. Sean with the W's joined us up here. We're going to go to Micah next. Micah, what did you catch from this game?
I will say this. So I caught the post-game interview with dang, why am I brain farting noise? Well, anyways, he was talking about how his teammates were telling him the same thing that we've been asking for, and that's to be more aggressive. And then comes out there, puts up big double-double, 31-10, give the man his props. You know what I mean? So I think that's always bam. That's always going to be the key to their success is him instituting his aggressiveness. That's the main thing I see as far as Miami.
All right. Appreciate it. Sean with the W's hopping up here. We'll go to Trigger. We're on the Miami Heat, Los Angeles Clippers. Go ahead and say good morning to the people down below. And what did you see from last night's game?
Good morning, everybody. First-time listener. I think everybody makes some really good points, and I think one of the biggest points that I've noticed is consistency. Last year we were in the same position that Boston is this year. We're just not, we weren't talking about it enough. We're very consistent as starters and on the bench. If I'm not mistaken, Tyler Hero I think he averaged somewhere close to 30 off the bench last year. And he really wanted his starter spot, and he's gotten it. And he's proven that he did deserve that starter spot. I do think Caleb Martin is excellent at the 4, but I do think we need to find I do think we need to go out and search for a 4, and I don't see the consistency level with Miami where they play an excellent game against Boston and then they come out stagnant on offense, even if they have a good defensive game against Detroit. There's a lot of consistent problems that are very, very fixable. And there's a lot of games that they've lost this season that they could have won if they would have stayed consistent all the way through. I think Max Strus is an excellent player, but I think he has dropped a good bit from where he was last year. And I think Bam Adebayo has been very, very aggressive compared to how he was last year. He's being the player defensively and offensively that I think Miami know they can be. Jimmy's just as good as he's always been. I think when he joined the Heat, that's when I became like a really big fan of Jimmy Butler as a player. He's probably one of my favorite players in the NBA altogether. I just think that the Heat can be in a better position than they really are if they would play on a consistent level offensively on a more night-to-night basis. And I know that injuries happen, but I think if they don't get it together soon, they are going to have to start making some of those trades that Pat Riley was trying so hard not to make during the offseason. Because if they're going to have to get some consistent shooters, that's just what's going to happen. Unless they end up just losing out and tanking and getting something good in the draft. But I don't see any good chance at that. I just think they need to be a lot more consistent offensively, and everything will come through. I think there's a good point being made that when they play good defense, it seems that the offense goes through, but it's just not happening this year. And I don't know what it is, but I think they can get it together. They just need to stay more consistent.
All right. Appreciate the good take there. And welcome as a first-time listener and first-time participant. Give yourself a round of applause. All right. When we talk about the Clippers, I do have a question. I'm not going to put out in a poll because I don't think they're a complete team yet. I think they are a move away. They're going to take a move to try to hedge against Kawhi Leonard. My question to you: do you believe the Clippers have what it takes to make the second round of the playoffs? If you look at it that way, if they can make the second round, that would make them a top 8 team. We will go to EK Johnson first. EK, good morning.
Hey, Chris, good morning, man. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful. First off, before I give you an answer regarding the Clippers, just want to give some love to Bam Adebayo. I believe when he scores over 25, I believe that he are 7-1 or 8-1 this year. So I think we've been saying for a long time that the offense needs to run through him. And when it runs through him, it just opens up everything for like Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Jimmy Butler. But he needs to be the foundation of that thing. But regarding your question regarding the Clippers, yeah, they got the potential to be a second round team. I just don't think they're going to be able to have the consistency and the health to be a second round team. I think it's more plausible that they get knocked out in the first round in a tough first round matchup than make it to the second round. If they do make it to the second round, I don't think that series, regardless of who they play, is going past 5 games. Based on what we've seen thus far, I mean, Kawhi Leonard hasn't played consistently. Paul George has shown that he doesn't have the ability, the sustained ability to carry a team when he's the lone superstar, the lone shot creator, the lone guy through a season and through a playoff run. So with that being said, man, I think the potential for the Clippers can be as high as getting to the NBA championship if all the pieces fall in line. But thus far, they have not fallen in line. And the depth that we talked about before the season started was sort of the depth we talked about was sort of a something that we could look forward to because we assumed that PG and Kawhi would play together consistently. But when you're just relying on guys like Reggie and Nick Batum and Terrence Mann and Brandon Boston and all these and Zubac and all these guys to get you wins and try to get you to a 50-win season, 55-win season, it just isn't going to happen. This league is too good. They got too much talent for that. So.
All right, I appreciate it. We'll go to JF. JF, can the Clippers make the second round?
So the top 4 teams, the Clippers were to be even close to like a 5 spot, or even a 6 spot, they probably have to go against a team like Sacramento, and I don't think they can outshoot Sacramento in a series. And I know Sacramento's not a playoff team, like they haven't been there in a minute, but unless Kawhi comes back, it just leaves a big question mark on the Clippers, because to lose against Miami and Orlando, that is really, 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 really big, and I think it brings more questions upon their team, just because you got to have Kawhi, and I don't even know if Kawhi is going to move the needle as much as I think it might be. Somebody made an interesting point earlier this season. He's gotten a lot bulkier, and coming back from an injury like his, how is it going to affect him? So I don't know how his minutes are going to be. So as of right now, I don't see him as a second round team.
All right, appreciate it. Joe, we'll go to you to close this out.
Hello? Okay, I'm sorry. My mic was acting up. I don't see them as a second round team because I don't understand what they're doing with Kawhi Leonard. Like, I really don't. I just don't see why. It's too many games missed, and it's no, like you said, it's no sorry, the word I'm looking, the word I'm looking for. But yeah, it's just that he's in and out the lineup, and then you got to rely on too many other players to get you to a 51 season in the second round, and that's who you're supposed to depend on. It was Kawhi, so I don't know. I don't think they're a second round team.
All right. I mean, that's fair enough. I know that the pickup of John Wall, I really, really liked. I understood why they said Reggie Jackson was going to start. And then I figured that sometime between Christmas and MLK in January, I believe that John Wall would eventually become the starter for Los Angeles. Because the one thing that, unfortunately for Reggie Jackson, he cannot really consistently garner the amount of facilitation required to get everybody in the offense in motion and keep them in the game. Oftentimes, when Paul George needed the break for the ball handling, it would be Reggie Jackson. But if you look at how the score broke down in the box score, and if you look at how the game actually played watching it, Paul George really only got the assist because he got to the open man when he was doubled. John Wall had 8 assists in 20 minutes versus 3 for 34 in Reggie. And it's just because they play differently. John wants to go up and down. He wants to go downhill. He wants to pass the ball and attack the basket. And Reggie doesn't do that as much, and he doesn't do it as well. And I think that's why eventually John will end up becoming the starter, even if Reggie Jackson plays the bulk of the minutes at that point guard position. All right, if you're not, I don't know. I don't think they'll make it to the second round right now. Not gonna lie. I think they will lose in the first.
It depends on the matchup, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, it depends on the matchup, John. But like currently, when we look at projecting them out, their matchup isn't favorable.
Well, if for example, you're going to say we're going to pit them against Sacramento, I think we can beat them.
Well, no, you're in the play-in, so even if you were to win, you'd be playing the
You'll be
Suns.
playing Golden State, right? Or Golden State.
Oh, yeah, you'd be playing Golden State in the play-ins, but I'm just talking about after the play-in in the first round, you'd be playing the Pelicans or the Suns, and I don't think you beat the Pelicans.
I'll take my chances with the Suns. You know, we're almost close last year. Last time.
Yo, Suns fans gonna be taking shots.
I'll say this though. I think we need obviously we'll need Kawhi and the others to get up to speed and health wise, and we all are on the outside with regard to how they're dealing with injury management, with especially with Kawhi, and you know that he has a degenerative condition. I would think that Kawhi bulked up because he did not play at all during the whole offseason. So you're gonna have to give him time to be able to be close to basketball shape. So I'm just going to, we're just gonna have to be patient. Although the patience is admittedly slightly getting thin as we head into the new year. So, but you just have to deal with it, and we have to trust the process. And we have one of the better front offices, and we have one of the better head coaches out there. He's not at Doc's, greatest level, as you always say. So we will just have to deal with it until the time comes. Again, if Boston can do 19-21 and finish in the finals last season, I think anything can happen this regular season.
Quoting Kevin Garnett. I love it. Micah, 30 seconds.
Depends on the matchup, Chris. If it's the Pelicans or Memphis, no, not a shot. There's Phoenix, absolutely. Yeah, there's such a round team as Phoenix. So there you go.
Want to clarify something. It's not that they lost to Orlando; it's how they lost. They were exposed to being the less athletic team. And they're going to struggle against every team that's more athletic than them, like the New Orleans Pelicans. And even the Phoenix Suns are more athletic, I think. Yeah, I think that's a good wrap on it. JF wanted to come in and maybe say one more thing. Unfortunately, work calls, and it calls here as well. So I'm going to hit this button so I can do today's read. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a fan of Kobe Bryant, or if you have a fan of Kobe Bryant in your family, this is a dope gift. They have the Winning is Everything cover already framed for you, and it's $99, right? If you use promo code HoopSpaces, you'll save 15%, which is $13.50, right? So it makes it $85.50. So for $85.50, You're going to get this beautiful, elegant Kobe Bryant winning is everything cover. And I actually remember that actual issue. I don't have that with the Kobe Bryant trilogy that sold out. So you might want to go ahead and get this now before it's sold out. Promo code HoopSpaces, save 15% on your purchase site-wide. If you want to pick this up, cool. If not, that's cool too. Make sure you head over to the marketplace, check out Pick Up Card Game, or check out the Funko Pop bobbleheads that they got available that are $20 and $25. Make your Christmas season better by saving using promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15%. Yeah, I like that. I added that last part in, just like that. What'd you think, EK? Thought that was good. Give myself a B+. All right. Men's.
I thought it was all right, bro.
All right, appreciate it.
Pretty good.
Men's college basketball top 25 scores. 2 games last night. Iowa State ranked number 20 falls to in-state rival Iowa. 75-56 was your final. And if you haven't watched any college basketball, I don't blame you. But the Iowa Hawkeyes are going to be one of those teams that are just absolutely annoying. They're just annoying. I watched a couple of it, and it's just like they play hard all the time. So shout out to Hawkeyes. Ohio State survives Rutgers 67-66 in their Big Ten opener at Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio. In the women's bracket for the top 25, number 3 Ohio State is now 9-0. They got to have a mercy rule sometimes because they beat up on New Hampshire 92-36. Just
They've been killing everybody all year, Chris. It hasn't even been fair.
Well, I know, but this was almost 60, and they had to pull back not to beat them by 60 plus.
Yeah, it's bad.
J.C. Sheldon is an awesome player.
Yes. University of Maryland, your Lady Terrapin, 77-74 over Purdue. Big Ten is going to be real good this year, real good. Probably the best basketball and women's bracket as a conference. Indiana, ranked number 4, 67-58 over Penn State. And by the way, Ohio State, 9-0. Maryland and Purdue, 8 wins combined each. Combined 5 losses. Indiana undefeated 10-0. Penn State 7-3. Michigan lost in an upset to Toledo. They're 9-1. The Toledo winning 71-68. UConn bounces back. They beat Princeton barely 69-64. Every time that I see them, I understand we are one game closer to the retirement of Gino Auriemma, and it makes me happy. Kansas beats Arizona in an upset in Tucson 77-50. You can expect Kansas to be close to the top 25. They've beaten everybody soundly for the most part. They are 8-0, 2-0 on the road, by the way. Arkansas beats Lamar. Shout out to Lamar. I had a couple of family members go through Lamar. That's rough. 63-50. And then a postponement. Notre Dame and Lafayette postponed their game out in Pennsylvania. And there you go. That's the women's game from college last night. All right, we will move on next to the Rockets and Spurs. And I actually watched this at the same time. There was about an 8-minute difference. The Spurs looked absolutely fantastic last night. So good that I thought we would see Damo this morning to come in and praise the wondrous Greg Popovich. But it was Keldon Johnson last night who made his first 9 shots, including 1 3, to put the Spurs out on top, and they didn't look back. They didn't look back. The score was closer than the game. Shout out Trey Jones, the brother of Tyus, 26 for a career high, 5 assists. I keep saying that he keeps playing himself into being re-signed by San Antonio. I expect that to happen. Keldon Johnson leading all scorers, 32, 7 boards. And that was pretty much it. The starting lineup had the rookie Branham, had Romeo Langford and Zach Collins. The highlight of the night was a breakaway dunk from Alperen Sengun, who went coast to coast and yammed on Collins. Collins fell back, hit his head, left the court. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up that he, in fact, is going to be entered in the concussion protocol list. But it was an offensive foul, so the point didn't count. But, man, was that a jam. And I want to give EK here a bit of love as a Rockets fan Ryan Hollins, the color commentator, and their play-by-play underrated pairing. They come with a great energy. They are very homerish. I'm not gonna lie. But it's a good type of homerish, not like the Miami Heat homerish where it's just overly just Miami. And I like that, and it's representative well of their team. EK, let's break this in because we had a great game by one Jabari Smith Jr. And I want to ask once again: does Jabari Smith Jr. have the highest ceiling out of all of these potential prospects? Go ahead and break the game, and what did you see from last night?
Yeah, man. So first of all, regarding Jabari Smith, it sucks that his best professional game to date had to come in a loss like this. And when you look at the score, you're looking at it and you say, well, we only lost by 9 points, right? But like you said before, the game wasn't as close as the Final Four indicated if you didn't watch the game. A couple of notes I have. I liked Eric Gordon 5 years ago, but now, I mean, the guy's making 19 million this year. He's going to make 20 million next year if we don't waive him by I think June 28th of next year, which probably won't happen knowing our front office. So he's going to be making 20 million next year, and if somebody could bring me a genie and get him off my team, that would be amazing, right? But that's not going to happen. Also, when Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green go combined 10 for 30, 35, no, 10 for 33, 10 for 33 combined, while not playing hardly any defense, that's incomprehensibly bad from the what's supposed to be the foundation of your backcourt, right? But the well, a couple positives I did see was I think when we get Jabari touches, I said this on a couple of spaces, when he gets more than 11 shots, he's close to average 16 points per game. He can play. He can play off the dribble. He needs to have shots run through him the way we need to run shots through Alfred Sengun. The fact that these guys are getting shots and getting production off of secondary sort of actions based off, Jalen Green and Kevin Porter most nights or most nights is astonishing to me. And if Steven Silas can run some plays at the elbow for Sengun and Jabari Smith Jr., I think that would be extremely beneficial to us in the long run. But yeah, man, I mean, we've had issues guarding dynamic scoring guards and threes the entire year. The fact that we gave up 58 points between Keldon Johnson, right, and Trey Jones. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. Like, you're never going to win that way when you're giving up 58 points on very, very high field goal percentage shooting and 3-point percentage shooting. Two guys who can really score. And also, Dayshawn Nix, man. I mean, I think, Chris, if you have like a Xerox printer, I'll give you Dayshawn Nix for a Xerox printer.
That is
Seriously,
mean.
like, I mean, he's horrible. He may be, and this is not an exaggeration. He may be the worst backup point guard in the NBA. No, not even may. He is the worst backup point guard in the NBA. He is horrible. 18 points, 2 of 8, 0 4 from deep. He was 4 for 4 on free throws. Consequently, he was a +2, which really doesn't say much because all the starters were minus anyway. So, I mean, it's just we. I don't even know at this point because the only thing we're really good at or kind of okay at is pace. We rank 15th in pace in the NBA, and mostly it's because of Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. Right, but we're 22nd in points per game. We're 28th in opponents' points per game. We're 23rd in offensive rating. We're 28th in defensive rating, and we have a net rating of -6.4, which is 28th out of all 30 teams in the NBA. We are garbage, and apparently the fan base knows it because out of the attendance, guess where we rank in attendance, Chris? Just take a wild guess.
29th.
Take a wild guess. 30th, my brother. 30th. So the fan base knows that change needs to come, and I think it starts with featuring Sengun in the offense more and getting Jabari more shots. Once that happens, I think that's going to open up a lot more offensive capabilities for our guards in the long run. But, at the beginning of the year, we said that, the Rockets could maybe win 20-some games. We were going to be fun to watch. Offensively, we were going to be good and everything. So I'm just kind of trusting the process. But it's tough to watch. It's definitely tough to watch.
Yeah,
Wait,
I what?
So you're saying that you need a point guard to basically better distribute the ball towards Jalen, Kevin Porter, and your bigs. Am I correct, EK?
Essentially, yeah, because right now we've got Jalen Green playing the point, and I think he's below serviceable. Basically, meaning that we're doing it because we don't have any other choice. Josh Christopher is in the doghouse, and Deshaun Nix is trash. So we
So
don't have anybody else
you
to
know
run point
you,
right now.
you know the solution to that is you're a team Scoot guy instead of a team Wemby.
Oh yeah, listen, I'm a team Scoot guy. The reason why I'm not a team Wemby guy is because there's a guy in the NBA who is Wemby, who Wemby aspires to be, and his name is Bol, but that's another conversation for
Oh man, Wimby is better than Bobo. I'm sorry.
Okay. So when he comes in next year and he's averaging 10 and 8,
He
revisit that conversation.
if he comes in next year averaging 10 and 8, then he's coming in from an inferior league in competition and has to actually get acclimated to the NBA. That's what I would say.
That would be
And
correct.
I
But
think Wemby's like doing very well in League. So
Well, yeah,
yeah,
but
I know the
that's
level of
like
competition is
a
exactly. I know the level of competition is exactly like the ACB or in the G League, but he is putting up numbers. So
oh, I know. It's just that I wouldn't even put Serie A France in top 5 league in the world. Like you got the NBA, you got
and we already have him playing in France, playing for France, and those 2 exhibitions against Scoots boys. So there is it's legit. So
well, the
that's why
talent the talent is legit. The issue isn't the talent. Like the potential and talent is there. The issue is the transition. We just don't know how he's going to transition. That's the problem. Like you can make the argument about Bobo transitioning, but he was already here, right? His transition was more injury related than anything else. Let me get 6 of the 12 whose hands up. 6-12. We're talking Rockets, Spurs. What do you got?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna follow what Jay always says. Free Jabari Smith. Either that or find a way to actually utilize Jabari Smith. I'm in, pretty much what EK said. I don't think they're using him correctly. I'm an LSU fan from Louisiana, right? So I've watched Jabari Smith put daggers in our hearts for a full year. I watch all LSU basketball games, and I mean, this guy was an absolute killer on the court, off the dribble, can create his own shot, all those things. And I know college and NBA is a different level, but you don't lose that talent of being able to create for yourself, or different things like that in his game. I hope Houston puts together for Jabari Smith, but if not, man, he needs to hopefully find a coach or find a roster that can accumulate, like that can make his game better or actually utilize his game. But that's what I have from that. I didn't actually watch the game last night. That's just kind of like what I've had just from watching him over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I get it. It's the Rockets and Spurs. They are combined 14 and 36. It's a hard ask for you to spend 2 hours watching it. I get it. But the Jabari Smith question, I do not ascribe to Jay the Wakanda tech support free Jabari propaganda. I am more with EK here. I thought Sengun was the better draft pick overall, even over Jalen Green, despite Jalen Green's talent, because the Houston Rockets never, ever, ever had a prospect of Sengun's unathleticism, yet high basketball IQ. Like Hakeem, you have to understand, was athletic and had a high IQ. You watch Sengun, and like he has to will himself to be athletic at times, like that dunk last night. Other times he's a throwback, and I enjoy watching him play. And I think a 2-man game between Sengun, especially once he gets a better feel for passing, which is going to probably be more on display, hopefully, as the season goes on between him and Jabari Smith, is a good start. And I say that because once again, you look at what Kevin Porter Jr., who just signed an extension this year, and Jalen Green have done. They were combined 10 for 33, which is 30%, 30.3% to be precise. And that just doesn't get it done. It just doesn't. They had a combined six turnovers. I mean, six assists and two turnovers. It was just bad. And then I think the problem with what Deshaun is running into is he's not an NBA point guard, and that's why he struggled in the G League at point guard and subsequently struggled in the draft. Um, I hope he can turn it around. I just don't see the scoring coming yet for Deshaun Nix. All right, we've got a couple people down below that I want to say what's up to. Big ups to Scotty. Big ups. Appreciate you supporting with a quick donation the other day. And I want to say what's up to Raptors Live TV that is in the building and will be live tonight, ladies and gentlemen, after the Toronto Raptors and Orlando Magic game, which will start at 7 o'clock. So make sure you shoot Raptors Live TV and follow so you can talk to Nelly J and Fahim for the win about all things Raptors as they take on the Orlando Magic and look to win down in Orlando. EK, what you got, man?
Yeah, bro. Just one more thing regarding Alperen Sengun. So I've been saying this all year that Alperen Sengun is our second best player as far as count as raw talent, but he's our most important player. And the reason why I say that is when you look at his per 36 numbers, his per 36 is 20, 11 and a half with 1.3 blocks. All he needs, like you said, is to be able to. I think he needs to create. Him and Jalen Green have to get on the same page as far as running a two-man game. I think when that happens, it's going to open up his offense a lot more, which is going to prompt Steven Silas to say, "Let me play this guy 30 plus minutes as opposed to playing him 28 to 27 minutes per game because he has the talent to put up a solid 18, 19, and 11 with maybe 1 to 1.5 blocks if he gets the time to." Right. So I totally agree with you. It's looking like Jalen Green is going to be the guy, just because he's a dynamic, scorer and things of that nature. But for the Rockets to move forward, Sengun and Smith are going to have to be featured a lot more in the offense.
Yeah, and one thing that I think would help, I don't think he'll ever be the shooter as this player I'm about to mention. But if I were Steven Silas, I would have Jalen Green look at a lot of young Ray Allen tape. Um, I think that would be a better mold than trying to jam him into a point guard. I don't. You can learn. He's athletic enough and has the talent, but that doesn't mean that that's necessarily what he would be best suited for. Like it's the same problem that happened with Devin Booker. Like you can run an offense with Devin Booker, but like then you are predicated to having him succeed offensively first, facilitating second, because he's a shooting guard, right? I think if you give him tape of young Allen and say, look, our goal is to make you a better Devin Booker, I think that goes a long way. But in doing so, then they have to admit that they made a mistake in giving Kevin Porter Jr. a contract extension
Yeah,
because you can't do that because they play the same position.
Mhm.
Let me get John in here for his last thoughts, and we'll let you close it up, BK. John, go ahead.
Okay, I really think if Team Scoot is going to be winning here, that someone between Jalen Green or Kevin Porter Jr. will have to suck up and come off the bench, and or someone gets jettisoned out of there. I think KPJ is going to get jettisoned out of there.
Oh no,
So
no. They've built this in. He's there, and if they get Scoot, Gordon's gone, and they're running three guards.
okay, well we'll see about. I really don't think that they have the right
They're
player
running three
development.
guards right now, dude. Eric
No,
Gordon is
no,
not a
I'm not.
small
I'm not.
forward.
Yeah, he's a
I'm
guard.
not
He's a guard.
criticizing the. I just don't know if they have the right coaching staff to be able to guide these team, guide this particular team, right, development wise. If you're having issues with, how Jalen Green or KPJ or Jabari, are developing. So I don't know. We'll just have to figure out what they want to do, maybe in the off season. But I also want to take this opportunity because six of the Pell fan is an LSU guy, The Rockets drafted a guy named Tari Eason, and I really think that he might be the a hot take here, but he might be a better option than Jabari Smith, fit wise with the Rockets.
Yeah, because I could see that because he's more of a slasher. He shoots too, but he's more his base game is slasher. He actually has a real good chance of being like Jared Vanderbilt as well. He can come into this game, get you 10 to 15 points, 10 to 12 rebounds, a few assists, and a few steals and blocks. Like he is a handful. Micah, your hands up. 30 seconds, and we'll give EK some time to close out on Steven Silas. And I'm going to talk some Spurs real quick.
Real quick, Chris, isn't Scoot also a shooting guard?
No.
Oh, so he's not. Okay, so yeah, it's probably the best option because, like you're saying, man, it's pretty much like you're saying, and it's what, as far as what I've witnessed in the NBA, it's what always sinks a roster is redundancy, and if KPJ and Jalen Green are pretty much the same guy, and you're running two shooting guards, and you don't really have a facilitator, I don't know where you go from there.
Yeah, Scoot Henderson is in my view the next like Rod Strickland who can shoot, except faster. 6'2", buck 90, probably the third fastest player that I've seen in like the last decade. Think about that. There's a lot of fast players, bro. He is lightning fast. I think Tyrese Maxey is a shade bit faster because he has more wiggle. But if you're talking straight up and down speed, Scoot's probably topping. It will be one of the top in the game. Think like John Wall speed when he first came out of Kentucky. He was just running by people. Currently, in the G League, he's got 6 games in. He's averaging 49% from the floor, 47 from three, scoring 21, giving out 6 dimes, taking in 5 rebounds, all rounded up with 3 turnovers. So like he's already playing against the better competition than he probably would have played in college. So look for him to be the number 2 pick. Like a lot of people are trying to say it's a 2-man race. It is not a 2-man race. It is not. All right, look. EK and I have talked a little bit. We are looking to target an introduction to the expansion of Hoop Spaces to cover more hoops, highlighting the best of the night in college for men's and women's. Because let's be honest, there's about anywhere between 43 to 79 games, depending on how you view it, with top 25, Division One, and then some Division Two games too. And he's interested and he's excited to have this opportunity. So I want to say thank you for getting ready to come on board to provide some avenue of basketball content covering college here. Close up with your Rockets, and then I'm going to talk San Antonio Spurs real quick.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, Chris. Man, it's gonna be I can't wait to get started, man. It's gonna be a good time because a lot of people, like you said, it's just so much college. It's kind of it can be overwhelming at times. You know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to get started on that. But to close up with the Rockets, um, I think if we get Scoot, which is very probable, I think that's going to be very, very good because I understand. I agree with what you were saying about having Jalen Green watch Ray Allen. The problem is that if we don't have the personnel to allow Jalen Green to play off the ball more than on the ball, then all that tape, in my opinion, will go in one ear and out the other, right? So we need a point guard who has the ability to run an offense effectively. And I'm not talking about somebody who's an all-star or anything like that. I'm just talking about a solid-ish point guard who can run an offense and say and give Jalen Green the ball off a pin down. Give it to him off a split action in the mid post, stuff like that. Give it to him on, you know what I'm saying? Just feed him in transition because I feel like that's the type of player he is. He's a dynamic scorer. He wants to be a scorer. That's who he is. When you see him play, it's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole when he's trying to play point guard. It's like, I mean, he's capable a little bit ish of doing it, mostly because of his athleticism and stuff. But for the most part, he is a shooting guard purely, right? So I think once we get a point guard in who has the ability to run an offense and will allow him to play off ball, that's going to open up a lot for that's going to open up a lot for us. And I agree with the Tari Eason points slightly. I think if we use Jabari the right way, he'll have a higher ceiling than Tari. But right now, Tari has looked overall better than Jabari because he has the ability to play off ball. He can slash and things of that nature. While as Jabari, a lot of times he's just stuck in the corner, or he's stuck at the top of the key, or he's stuck at the wing. While Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. and sometimes Eric Gordon, pretty much hog the ball. So, like I said, it's been a tough watch so far from my Rockets. It's probably going to get tougher before it gets better, but it's okay because there's a lot of parity in the NBA, and I'm going to get a lot of joy from seeing teams like the 76ers implode because of one Glenn Rivers. So that's going to give me a lot of joy.
See, I see what you're trying to do, but like the funny thing is that Glenn Rivers, as you call him, his name's Doc. He had the
His
team
mama named
above
him Glenn.
500. He had the team above 500 without a certain player. And a certain player returns and the team is now 500. Somehow, that's Doc's fault. I don't get it. Deej is furiously waving me down as if I am an Uber that he didn't order, but he wants to sneak in so he doesn't have to wait the 8 minutes. Deej, my man, good morning. What's up?
Chris, good morning. Good morning. Before you go to your Spurs getting Wendy scenario, I just wanted to talk Rockets because as a Knicks fan, the New York Knicks are shopping a whole bunch of players. So with that being said, for my Rockets buddy over here, Cam Reddish and Evan Fournier would basically equal Eric Gordon's contract, who I think Eric Gordon is basically just rotting away in Houston at this point. Would the Rockets feel interested as a fan base for a Cam Reddish? That was my question, and I'm going to shut up.
It's a great question. EK, go ahead.
I think that's an intriguing question, right? Because I feel like I love Cam Reddish to Duke, even though I'm not a Duke fan, and I love them when he was that stint in Atlanta. I think the Fournier thing kind of throws me off a little bit just because he's worse than Eric Gordon in my opinion. But if we can get a dynamic guy like Cam Reddish off the bench, and like I said, I'm willing to do pretty much anything to get off the easy contract. So I would definitely, as a Rockets fan, be interested in bringing Cam Reddish in off the bench.
Thank you, EK. Thank you, Chris. Back to the
You're welcome. The Fournier contract is guaranteed. The Gordon, I think, in the last year they could cut him, or like I think there'd be a better deal. Let me just put it that way. However, I will say this: if I'm the Knicks and the Rockets, and if I want a deal, and Cam Reddish and Evan Fournier is involved, there's an easy fix here, and his name is Kevin Martin Jr. And if the Knicks would be like, yo, let me give you 2 seconds, right? And if neither convey, you'll get a back end first future down the line. Then you might have a deal, right? Because you'll get Houston a couple of extra tradable second rounders because there's going to be a lot of teams who are going to need them. And they'll get off of Gordon. And more likely what will happen is they would just turn around and move Evan Fournier with another young player that they're not going to end up needing, like Usain Garuba, and get him off the books. I think that's a win-win scenario, personally.
For me personally, Chris, and then I'll let you go into your Spurs conspiracy. But Obi Toppin just recently got hurt in the Hawks game, out 2 to 3 weeks. There's going to be a glaring hole at backup 3 and backup 4, unless Tom Thibodeau is a madman and he plans to play R.J. Barrett and Quentin Grimes 40 minutes as your backup 3 and 4. So that's why I brought it up. Yeah, I can see that too, unfortunately. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, EK.
All right, have a good one, Deej. What do you think, EK, about the Kevin Martin Jr.?
I think that's intriguing, right? Because I'm partial to Kevin Martin Jr. I think he is the perfect guy to come off the bench and provide, bench scoring and help out defense and things of that nature. I think he has the ability to become a better defender, which is what we desperately need. I think he's probably one of our best pound for pound defenders on our team right now. So, I mean, I think we would sort of have to look at it after this season is up because, to be quite honest with you, Chris, I feel like the fan base, and I've had conversations within the Twitter Houston Rockets fan base. We're already looking forward to the draft, right? So at this point, I think people will be reluctant for the Rockets to make any moves that's going to make any waves that will potentially affect any draft picks that we would not necessarily get, but any draft picks we would get and how they would be implemented in our offense. Right, so I would probably wait on the Kenyon Martin Jr. piece because I know he is a beloved player from the Rockets. If we're talking about favorites, he's maybe top 3.
All right, so that's a whole bunch of personal bias. Then I see.
Yeah,
all good.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, like there's an amazing thing happening on Twitter right now. This is a carryover from the question. Who wins, the Dream Team trio or the Redeem Team trio? In the comments down, whatever, mention this comments. I don't know what the hell y'all call them. Somebody said that Dwayne Wade was better than Larry Bird. And then, like, people are voting Dwayne Wade over Larry Bird. Like, my question, who wins one-on-one in their prime? Larry Bird or Dwayne Wade? Because, like, I don't think it's close. And it's Mr. Bird. Like, I don't get this. Man.
Well, it's obvious it's going to be, Larry Bird when you're saying prime Larry Bird. You're talking in your primes. But
Yes.
we're talking about 1992 Larry Bird, though.
Well, people act like Dwayne Wade was healthy. But that's
2008 Wade?
Well, no. I'm saying, like, people saw the picture of the Dream Team and the Redeem Team, and they subconsciously looked at it literally, right? Like, if I wanted to say literal, I would have, like, who wins between, like, 92 and 2006, right? Like, I would have put the dates. I just wanted to use a picture that encapsulated all the players, and boom, I found it. But that's not my issue now. My issue is that there are people who on a one-on-one matchup in their primes are saying Dwayne Wade would beat Larry Bird. And I'm like, nah.
They need to watch the tape.
Yeah.
They need to watch the tape of Larry Bird and what he used to do to guys. How he used to talk trash to guys. How he used to say, I'm going to walk into this spot and I'm going to shoot. Like that's what he would be doing to D-Wade.
Mid-80s Larry Bird is something.
Well, no, 79, 80, 81, 83, 84, 85, 87, 88. Like,
he was different, bro.
Like, even though Dwayne has the superior athleticism, Bird would be big enough to put his butt in Dwayne Wade's chest, back him down with that old man shimmy, and then tell him exactly how he was going to shoot the ball. He would look at Dwayne Wade in the eye and say, I'm going to drop 20 on you with my left hand. And do it. Because he's done it before.
Yeah, Larry Bird was different, y'all. He was a different guy. You would need to watch tape on Larry Bird. He was a lot better than the media portrays him to be. Let's put it that way.
Just killing me, man. Killing me in the morning. All right. Mike is here. I can't. I got to get this Spurs talk off. It's been an hour.
Hey,
get
Chris.
the Spurs talk. After the Spurs. I need to talk Spurs. They won. They had lost 11 in a row. Do you know how hard it is to watch a team that is not your team lose 11 games in a row? That is my question to you. And the answer is no, because you don't do it. I do. I had to watch 11 straight games of San Antonio losing. So I want to take 30 seconds and say, wow, what a game by Keldon Johnson. 14 for 21 from the floor, 3 for 6, 7 boards, 32 points. Trey Jones, second-round pick. They drafted him in the same year as Keldon Johnson. I keep trying to tell people that is the future core of these San Antonio Spurs. Now I'm ready to talk some bad. The Spurs are not who you think they are. We have applauded them. We have given them so much love. Here's the love they have returned. Are you ready? Since 2010, here are their first round draft picks: James Anderson, Corey Joseph, Livio Jean Charles, Kyle Anderson, Nikolai Molyatanov, DeJounte Murray, now a Hawk, Derek White, now a Celtic, Lonnie Walker, now a Laker, Luka Samanic, I don't even know where. Keandre Weatherspoon was a Warrior. He's no longer a Warrior. Devin Vassell, Joshua Primo. We know what happened to him. And then now they have Jeremy Sohan, Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley. Ladies and gentlemen, the Spurs have drafted poorly for a decade. And that is why they lost 11 in a row. And you know whose fault it is? It is Greg Popovich's fault. When we become so great, we become entrenched and we become resistant to change. And in this last 11 games, I have seen resistance to change. But I'm here to tell you, he doesn't care. Because in his mind, he's drafting and coaching these players the right way. Now, does that work in the end? I don't know. But all I know is if you look back on the past decade, this is not good. This is not the Spurs that we grew accustomed to, being able to draft, fill for need, and develop. Just hear these names: Murray, gone. White, gone. Walker, gone. Samanic, gone. Primo, gone. The only two first-round picks getting regular time, Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson. Maybe Jeremy Sohan breaks that mold, but he's been in and out the lineup. I don't think Malachi Branham's the answer at the moment, and I haven't seen enough of Blake Wesley because he's only played 2 games. I wanted Greg Popovich to walk off into the sunset. Maybe not with a victory, but with a legacy of continual positive production. And like when we look at what's happened this year, I just feel bad. So I wanted to highlight these San Antonio Spurs as they won, because I'm not going to lie, I don't think there's too much more winning coming. Jakob Poeltl is out, will be traded. Who else from the San Antonio Spurs can be gone? Zach Collins, Romeo Langford, Isaiah Roby, Doug McDermott, Charles Bassey, Josh Richardson. Every single player they have can be gone in an instant, except for the picks they just picked and 2 players, maybe 3, if you add in Trey Jones. That is not really how Greg Popovich wanted to leave his San Antonio Spurs for the next generation. So let's just take a deep breath because it's going to be rough in San Antonio for a while, I think. All right, Joe, now you can go. All right, that's pretty riveting, Joe.
Sorry. I'm came down with something, so I'm sick. But what I was saying is that saying with this sickness, I see I'm in and out with delirium, and I don't even think that Dwayne Wade could beat Larry Bird. That's what I wanted to say.
There you go. All right. Yeah, man. Like the Spurs hurt my feelings. It's so bad. We'll go to Deej. Deej, what you got?
To carry over to your Spurs conspiracy, right? Because a lot of people think that, like, that they're the model of consistency for drafting. But again, no disrespect, they did literally fall into Tim Duncan, who carried over a generational wealth to another generation, and they basically made their team off of that. But just those players that you name, all the players that you just named, a lot of those players might be gone by this trade deadline, because a lot of teams are in need of wing depth and shooting, particularly Dougie and Josh Richardson. My question to you is, would that be, and I'm sorry, Evan Townsend, I love you, man. Hope we talk draft later on in springtime. But would that be the worst situation for a Mr. Wendy? Chris, that's my question to you.
No, because this is what's going to happen, right? Greg Popovich is probably done, but he stays within the organization as an advisor role or replacement for R.C. Buford. The next wave of Spurs coaching will be more than likely either Brett Brown or James Borrego. And what they will do is they'll continue the culture. Now, are they going to be successful? I have no idea, because it's going to be dependent upon who they put in the GM position and the player personnel or president, executive president. Because I don't believe the current GM, who is responsible for the fiasco that Joshua Primo was and what happened, is going to be promoted. So, like, we could be looking at a completely differently ran team. And if that's the case, they could become player-centric and do what Atlanta did with Trey or what Dallas has done with Luka and say, hey, you're the guy. And everything we do will be for you, which will be the end of an era in the NBA. Because other than Miami, there's no real other team right now that does that, what they do, which is team first. Every other team, it's centered around one or two players. Miami, you can say it's centered around Jimmy. It isn't. Jimmy gets everybody involved. You can say it's centered around Bam. It isn't. We complain he's not aggressive enough. And it's old school basketball. And we got to like what we have because it's going away. That's it. Mike, 30 seconds.
Yeah, real quick. As far as the Spurs, it is so hard to replace greatness. And I have seen this through so many different franchises. I mean, look at the Bulls after Michael Jordan. They haven't been to the finals in what are we coming up on? Are we a quarter century? And I mean, what are replacing greatness? You just don't do that overnight. And so they're gonna have, and I think the main issue is they never went after a full rebuild, so I have to agree with you. It is on Pop, because all these guys that they're getting as far as draft picks, none of them are, you don't look at any of them as the best player on a contending team. So I don't know. Maybe if they get Wemby, they can fix it. And yeah, real quick, Larry is smoking and shooting his face off. What are we doing here? 3-time MVP, and let's not forget, even though that roster was stacked, before Larry got there, they were terrible. And that's another thing that goes to my point. After Larry left, they've won one title and coming up on 40 years. So there you go.
All right. And Doc Rivers' greatness led them to that title. The only team possibly to have drafted worse than the San Antonio Spurs in the last 10 years, the Dallas Mavericks. Yep. Jordan Hamilton, Tyler Zeller, Kelly Olynyk, who they traded, Justin Anderson, Dennis Smith, Trae Young, who they traded, Josh Green, Wendell Moore.
Not one of them is in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, Chris. Throw that in there. So that's why he said that.
Josh Green is here. But that was 2020. And then they traded Trae for Luka.
I will say, though, that the Spurs don't exactly have a good wiggle window when they're picking 28, 29, 27. You know, there's no bigger margin for error. You know, compared to Dallas has been more getting mid-level mid-range first rounders, though. You know.
I mean, they hit on a couple of them, but like Lonnie Walker was 18, Luka was Samanich was 19. Like they've had mid picks too. James Anderson was 20.
Like, we're forgetting Kawhi Leonard at 15, right? I think.
Kawhi, that was a trade. They didn't draft him. That was a trade. Somebody else drafted him and they traded him. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to hit this button. We're halfway through the show. I want to say thank you for making any part of your day here on your pre-weekend part of Hoop Spaces. Shout out to the Hoop Spaces creators that are in the building. Malika Walker of the Rewind Pod, Sean with a W of Live from the Mecca and Knicks Film School, Jose with 77 Spaces. You can catch him with Speak On It, Rolo, and Jazz, Scam and Sultan. Jonathan is in the building. That is right. Jonathan Hattie Hart Harris, fellow Sixers fan, in the building. Make sure you check Sundays are for basketball. We'll be up on the Hoop Spaces YouTube with goofy commentary. Raptors Live is in the building. That's right. I just named a whole bunch of content creators that love basketball as much as you do, so you should follow them. Seriously, like, why not? If you're here, they're here. They talk with me. You like talking with me. You should like talking with them. And to that effect, last night, Malika Walker had an episode covering the Allen Iverson 76ers with my friends Derek Stein and Half Court Heat, a.k.a. Big Al. Make sure you cop the replay. We'll get that up here in the Jumbotron for you momentarily. Brought to you by slamgoods.com. Head over there for your Kobe fan. And by the way, they got a whole ton. They have two AI ones. They've got the, what was it, the 98 cover. And I want to say also the 2002 cover. Can't remember. But like they're all about $99. Save 15% using promo code HoopSpaces and buy something for the fan in your life that means something for you who enjoys basketball as you do. It's definitely worth the save. And with $15 off, essentially, you could get more than just a cup of coffee. You could go get Subway. Although I don't know why you would want to do that to yourself because Subway has really kind of gone downhill. Remember when Subway was good? I do. What a waste. All right, one more game. Someone just
Chris,
yeah.
Before we move to the other game, do you think I will be seeing Keldon Johnson next year here?
What do you mean here? You know, I don't know. I mean, he could fit. They'll say it's a homer pick. I know that much. But I could see it. Yeah, I could. I'm trying to talk myself into it. Maybe.
Because you know, if he keeps on playing like this, I will be seeing him here.
Oh yeah, if he keeps playing like this, yes. The issue with Keldon, is he actually played and grew up in the under system, right? So in Team USA basketball, and they are really protective of these players who excel in the NBA and grew up in this streamlined system here. But he's at a position where there's just other players that might be considered better. And if they were given the opportunity, he might make the team but not get run, right? Like, you're not starting him over Jason Tatum. You're not starting him over Jaylen Brown. You're not starting him if Kevin Durant happens to go. I don't think LeBron, I think he said he's not doing it this time. Maybe he changes his mind, but would you start him over LeBron? Probably not. Who else would we send at the 2 or the 3? Devin Booker. It's not starting over Devin Booker. It starts getting close.
You know, because I'm having a debate with a couple of my friends here about who would be the alpha of the team that will be coming here next year, whether that would be a Jason Tatum or a Devin Booker.
Ooh. Believe it or not, if Jaylen Brown makes the team, Jaylen Brown would probably be the statesman of that group. Just throwing that out there. I don't think Jaylen Brown gets enough credit for how deftly he maneuvers politically through the NBA as well as his play. All right. I want to say thank you to all of you. You're still here. Can you do me the favor, though, because you are still here? It means you're enjoying what you're listening to. If you could like and retweet the show card for me, I would definitely appreciate that. But today, what I really want you to do is spend some time watching Justin Patton's reaction video. He did the Clippers and Miami. We talked about 50 minutes, Clippers and Heat credit here. All I want you to do is be able to spend a few minutes watching a man share his passion with you and understand how awesome that is, so that maybe you might want to do it. And you might want to contact him and say, hey, how do I do this? How do I add my voice to the Hoop Spaces YouTube channel? Like, he is here wanting to do this with you, right? Like, this is when we talked about it, like, hey, this is what we want to help build. And he's all about that. So if you're down below, you don't have what you're not understanding is you don't need anything other than the camera on your computer or your phone and your love for your team. And if you have that, all you got to do is sit down and watch what Justin does, and ask him, hey, can I do this too? And shoot him a follow, reach out to him, and he'll help you out, and you'll get your voice up on the Hoop Spaces channel. And likewise, to JB, like the likes of JB, who come in when he can and gives his JB's rants. We're going to open up the editorial section too, so that if you want to write because you're too worried about having a video out there, and that's totally fine. There's tons of people who don't want to be videotaped or photographed. I'm one of them. We'll have that available too. So if you want to write, just like EK does, says, hey, I love what you're doing. It's positive. It allows me to express my passion. I would love to be a part of it. There's a spot for you here as well. Brought to you by Slam Goods. Make sure you head over there. For me, use promo code HoopSpaces. That way you don't have to send them the email that I sent them or that I told you to, well, you know how that goes. Tell them I sent you. I always hate that. It's like really bad. Just use the promo code. They know. That's why it's there. Promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15%. And if you're wondering why I keep saying it, it's been scientifically proven if you repeat things multiple times in a condensed time period, you have a better chance of remembering. So, like, I'd like to close on that by saying promo code HoopSpaces saves 15%, like Geico, but over at slamgoods.com. One last game, and it's the best game. The Denver Nuggets go into Portland and steal a win with Jamal Murray hitting a three-point with 0.9 seconds, spoiling Dame time, which was hilarious. And the reaction was totally worth the watch. 121-120. If you got something about that game you want to talk about, let's go. Let me give you the lineups. Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, KCP, that's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. For the Denver Nuggets, Jeremy Grant, Yusuf Nurkic, Damian Lillard, Josh Hart, Anthony Simons, your starters for Portland. But it was Dame time. 12 for 22, 9 for 17 from deep, perfect from the line, 12 assists, 2 steals, 40 points. And ladies and gentlemen, old school Dame has arrived. He has now figured out what it took him 9 years to figure out, and it's how to manipulate the game, get his shots, get his players involved, right, without it always relying on Dame time. Sure, Dame time is going to happen when we need it, but if you watch this game, Anthony Simons struggled, Jeremy Grant struggled, but Damian Lillard was responsible for 64 points because he got his teammates involved. Nikola Jokic, phenomenal game. And I'm telling you now, if he ends up winning another MVP, I wouldn't be shocked. But it would take Denver having to be in the first seed, I think, to accomplish this. 14 for 25, 10 boards, 9 assists, uncharacteristic, 6 turnovers, and 33 points leading the Denver Nuggets. But it was Jamal Murray again, finishing with 21, 8 for 21 shooting, 3 for 10 from deep, 8 assists. There is the floor. We'll go first to Deej. Deej, go ahead, man. What you got on this game?
I mean, just on this game and these two franchises alone, Chris, I just wanted to come in. I'm happy that whenever I'm off, I can tune in to Chris and the Hoop Spaces because this is good information from every fan base. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That is very well informed. With that being said, these two franchises are that I have, like, I actually appreciate both of these franchises. For one, I'm gonna go with Portland. Will Damian Lillard be one of the best players ever to play that never got to any like NBA finals ever? Because his team is so good that you could get them to a second round, but not good enough to get to a Western Conference Finals or a finals. And for me, and the second question that I have, regardless of the Dame, for the Nuggets, Chris, what are they missing? Because the biggest thing that you didn't mention was no Michael Carter, no MPJ, but like, what are the Denver Nuggets missing on that roster that makes you say they're the team to beat? Those are my two questions. Dame, and what are the Nuggets missing?
They are missing somebody not named DeAndre Jordan or Jeff Green.
Very fair. Their bench is god awful. Very fair. Very fair.
Their bench is Bones Highland, and whoever decides to show up. And like, I'm not knocking the immortal Jeff Green, Georgetown alum. Shout out to Georgetown University. Father Time is undefeated. Like, I'm not knocking DeAndre Jordan. Like, you're doing better this year than you did last year, but Father Time's undefeated. That's just the God's honest truth, and that's it. Like, when the playoffs get here, they're going to shrink, and they have nobody else other than those two. It's going to be them and Bones Highland, because it ain't going to be Kankar. Right? It ain't going to be Braun, not during the playoffs as a rookie. So you're going to be left with Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, and Bones Highland. And like, until they fix that, they probably will be discounted. And then, like you say, MPJ, like, well, if he comes back and you put Bruce Brown on there, that changes things. No, it doesn't, because it's still Jeff Green and DeAndre Jordan. Like, I don't think you're understanding why I keep saying Jeff Green and DeAndre Jordan. Like them, they're awesome. Ain't gonna get it cut. Ain't gonna happen.
Chris,
then,
real quick.
Go ahead.
Quick. Bruce Brown is one of the most underrated signings in the summer. I don't understand why the Brooklyn Nets never brought him back. I just want to throw that out there.
Cap. So Brooklyn would have had to pay more. Like, not only was it a great signing, it was cheaper because he didn't re-sign in Brooklyn. Had he re-signed in Brooklyn, the cap structure in Brooklyn would have been different. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that is really the reason why they didn't bring him back. And then people are like, well, they brought Patty back. They could have just gave him Patty. He would have been making more than Patty. And then, you know what? You would have been left with like Teo Maledon after he got cut from Oklahoma City. So, like,
but wouldn't Royce be the Bruce Brown replacement for this?
No, because Royce is more of a 4 and a 3, where Brown was more of a 2 and a 3 who could also handle the ball.
But when they traded for Ben Simmons,
well, that was before, but like, again, it's Ben. Malik is like, I'm standing by my man. Ben Simmons gonna come back and dominate the league. She didn't say that.
I think the Bruce Brown minutes have been dissolved between him, between Ben, Royce, and Yuta Watanabe.
Yeah, well, that's its own problem.
But that's a different. But I think, I agree that Bruce Brown was a really huge signing. They just need like a Will Barton guy or a Bill Barton type guy that that can help produce off the bench, and of course a backup center. But that option is like plentiful across free agency. They can just elevate a guy. So
Hey Chris, y'all talk about y'all talk about Brooklyn, but
no, I'm not trying to talk about Brooklyn. I'm trying to talk about Denver.
No, I got what you're saying though, but I definitely understand what you're saying about Uncle Jeff and DeAndre Jordan. I definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, and like, so you're like, well, again, Michael Porter Jr. comes back, you put Bruce Brown, but like, Bruce Brown is only going to take Christian Braun and Kankar's minutes. Again, you're still left with DeAndre Jordan and Jeff Green. And that makes Jokic have to go, 20 for 25, 38 points, 12 boards, 10 assists consistently. And can he do it? Sure. It would also help if Jamal Murray could figure out whether he wants to play point guard or shooting guard. That might help, but it's not as big of a deal. We're going to go next to Jay, the Wakanda Tech Support. Jay, what's up?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Please retweet the show card. Hoop Spaces is great. The issue with Denver is not only is their bench super thin, but they don't have a guy outside of Jokic that wants to play make first. Now, does that team make a lot of extra passes because they've taken on the personality of their best player? Sure. But they don't have a player who, especially off the bench, that comes in the game looking to get people involved first. And that's kind of what you see in the Jokic less minutes is ball don't move as well. Um, and so I think they would be. I think a TJ McConnell would do wonders for this team. I know that he's small. Bones Highland is kind of small, but in the playoffs, you really don't do hockey subs, so I think it would be fine, and it would allow Murray when he's playing with the bench unit to be aggressive. And because I think he naturally wants to be a shooting guard, because Chris tweeted out last night that what is Jamal Murray, and my response was, he's D'Angelo Russell with a better start to his career, better organization, better culture, and better role. Because he could come in and from day one, he was supposed to be a supplementary piece to the main guy, whereas D'Angelo Russell came in and there was an experiment to see if he could be the main guy. And I think D'Angelo Russell's kind of gotten intoxicated by that idea when he's really a supporting guy. Um, and I think that's the issue with the Nuggets. And the issue with the Trailblazers is that they don't have a big that anybody's scared of to go to the rim. And so in these half court games and these slow it down, grind out games, if you're the trailing team, you want free throws. And the Blazers don't have anybody at the rim where you go, I don't want to go down there, right? And so I think that's what the issue is with the Trailblazers.
Yeah, I think I've said this before. I like Drew Eubanks more than Nurkic because of that. Like Nurk plays well, but he also plays kind of hesitant because he tends to pick up injuries that like they're not major injuries, but man, like he can lose one or two games and then before you know it, he's only playing 65, kind of like AD before the two major injuries the last 2 years. Um, yeah, I worry about Portland, similarly to like how I worry about Miami. The difference is at least they have Shaden Sharp. So like they like Tyler Hero starting takes that player away, and Max Strus is a shooter, but like that's it for Miami. So when I look at Portland, I see Miami West, but more offensive as opposed to defensive, and I start to worry for both of these teams. But good points, Jay. I agree. Up next, we'll go to Breeze. Breeze, what's up?
What's up, everybody? I did retweet the show card, and in about 5 minutes, I'm gonna delete the tweet and then do it again just for you, Chris.
Oh, I
Show the
appreciate
love.
that, Breeze.
Yeah, you know the love. But
Chris, shameless plug. Me and Breeze run a show too, but we're very too humble to not talk about it. But we run a
Well,
Knicks show.
then you should talk about it. Like, just throw it out there. Like, can't get people to go there if you don't tell them.
It's very true. If y'all got time and you happen to look up and you see an icon and it's a space going, and you see my name and Deej's name, pull up. That
There
was
you
off
go.
the fly. How was that, Chris?
I mean, like, if that is an elevated pitch for Nick Spaces, like, I don't think they getting in the elevator. They still taking the stairs.
Well, it was off the cuff. Sometimes, we run a Tom Thibodeau offense. I watched that, so creativity ain't there,
Give you the
But
point for that. That was good.
yeah, you feel me. But for your first point, because you be throwing out some good stuff in there. So we here with the D Wade. I came to pull up first for the D Wade and the Larry Bird smoke. First off, who get the ball first, Chris?
All right. So in all my one-on-ones, right, it is make it, take it, and in terms of getting the ball out, it's best 2 out of 3, paper, rock, scissors. So like I cannot tell you who gets the ball first, right? You can play both sides and then say after playing both sides, which person wins is how I view it.
All right. Got you.
Because I actually played the game in my head. Like
You
I
did?
can close my eyes and play this game in my head, just like if I was watching it on TV.
See the thing is, right, that Larry Bird, like in a one-on-one setting, man, he gonna get to certain spots, and it's gonna be a wrap for D Wade, right? But then the thing is, D Wade still got that athleticism, and his mid-range game was solid too. You know, so I'm feeling like, you know, if D Wade get the rock first, we might could do something. But I'm not gonna make the statement though. I'm not gonna make the statement.
You know what? You know what you should say is you should say, I'm gonna tell you what I think because I have to think about this on the next Nick Spaces, which is blank.
With the drop,
You didn't
too?
take corners, brother. He's showing you how to do it.
I got you. But I do want to give appreciation to the ending of that Blazers and Nuggets game though, because that was just an elite, like, last 2-3 minutes, everybody just making shots. Jamal Murray, Damian Lillard, and then it ends with a terrible pass, and it was just like, God damn, this how we ended. That was just crazy. But before we got to that point, it was just great to watch. But yeah, that's all I wanted to tap in for, Chris.
All right, appreciate it. And like what I tell most people, write it for 30 seconds and then break it down in your ad lib. Right? If you want to do it off the top, you can, but have a base. Right? Like have a base. If you know what your base is, you can go anywhere. We'll go to Micah. Micah, 30 seconds.
Oh, you tried to segue.
Like you cannot, like you can't have your hand up and then not be ready to talk.
Okay, real quick, Chris. So I'm going to talk about Denver real quick. Well, first off, like you said, with DeAndre Jordan, any center that makes JaVale McGee look passable ain't it. So that's the first thing. And like you said, Father Time is undefeated. And I'll tell you what, this is something that I feel is worrisome for them in the playoffs. As much as I love Jokic, I have noticed this flaw in his game that he has issues with mobile bigs. Like, even if they're stinky mobile bigs, like I legit watched Dwight Powell clamp him up. And so that's telling me something. And not just that, in the playoffs, Draymond Green clamped him up. Now, if it's a big that's not movable like that, then he's probably going to shoot their face off while getting 10 assists and 10 rebounds. But anytime it's a mobile big, he has issues, and I've noticed that in his game. So I was going to see what your opinion was on that.
My opinion on whom again?
On Jokic struggling against mobile bigs.
I actually don't necessarily think he struggles. I just think he looks very unathletic. Like there is no better plotter in the NBA than Jokic. But for what he does in terms of defense, he's actually pretty good in Mike Malone's system. His job is to eat space and force an extra step or an extra second in an elongated shot. So Aaron Gordon can come over to help. Or Bruce Brown can come over to help, or Contavious Pope can come over to help. The uber athletic bigs he struggles with because every big struggles with the uber athletic big. That's why Anthony Davis can go into Washington and walk out with 55 and 17 or 27. Or he can go and get 41 and 17. Because when you play the elite athlete, especially when they're healthy and have game, it doesn't matter how good you are. It's very similar to this Dwayne Wade, Larry Bird convo. It doesn't matter how good you are, the better player is going to win. And oftentimes he might give up the more athletic play, but in the end, he ends up winning because he's just the better player. Let's go to Joe and then Jay the Wakandan. Then we got my man Scott, a.k.a. Nothing But Heat, down below. Thank you, everybody. Joe, then Jay. Go ahead. Take it.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know if he watched the game yesterday, but I really thought that Jokic made, what's the Jokic? Oh, whatever the name is. Made him look bad. Made him look bad yesterday. So, but my thing is this. I want to ask you a question, Chris. Was it the Kevin Durant trade in the off season, or is it just a lot of really incompetent GMs? Because we talked about this. We talked I remember we even a couple spaces.
Wait, you said Kevin Durant trade. What Kevin Durant trade in the off
I mean
season?
the trade request. I mean, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that saying a lot of teams that are supposed to be the elite teams, and saying in the off season, like Miami, Denver, and Clippers, you can see that there are really big holes in it. And I was just wondering, was it the Kevin Durant trade request that held everything up, or was it just a lot of incompetent GMs?
I think Kevin Durant's trade request gets too much credit. He requested a trade. People kicked the tires around to see if there was a trade. But to be honest, this wasn't that great of a free agency this past season. Highlighted the fact that PJ Tucker got $30 million for 3 years. That's how there really wasn't that great of an off-season crop.
You're just not going to let this PJ Tucker thing go, are you?
No.
All right.
Why should I?
No.
Why should I? I like PJ Tucker as a person. I'm glad he grinded and I want him to get the paycheck, but I just wish it was on another team. Same thing with Daniel House. Wish it was on another team. Why? Daniel House took all the minutes away from the players who needed minutes. For what? 4.5 points per game? Get out of here. But no, the trade that really did it was the Gobert trade. The Gobert trade, I think, personally, in my opinion, talking with reporters, it shut the league down for a day and a half out of shock. Because everybody else who was talking trades all of a sudden had to recalculate their value table because they weren't expecting 4 first-rounders and players. And that I think is what kind of held up, because at that point, an idea of trading for Kevin Durant was possible. But you're not what are you going to give for KD if Rudy Gobert gets that? And Rudy Gobert is what, 4 years younger, 5 years younger, and doesn't play the same relevancy to the entirety of success. He's a defensive anchor. He's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, but in no way, shape, or form would anybody put him on any plateau with Kevin Durant. And that is what caused a pause, and then everybody just fell in after there. Jay, go ahead.
I was saying, I just don't get why, you're big, and you're Denver. I don't know if it was because they kept on saying that it's Jokic's time. He's supposed to be up there, but you're like you said, your biggest pieces off the bench is Jeff Green and DeAndre Jordan. That makes no sense if you're going to be an elite team.
Well, they didn't have him capped. Look, Michael Porter signed. He's got 30, almost 31. Jamal Murray makes almost 32. Jokic almost makes 33. You're at 100 million right there. Aaron Gordon makes 20. KCP makes 14. You're at 119 million. The cap is only so much. They made a trade, right? They traded. Wow, escaping me. Will Barton, Monte Morris to Washington for KCP and Ish Smith. Hell, Ish Smith makes $5 million, right? Jeff Green signed for 4.5. That was it. They couldn't afford anybody. Bruce Brown signed for 6.5, and we just said that Bruce Brown re-signed with Brooklyn. He was probably looking at 8 to 12. So they had zero cap space, and it was really the trade for Aaron Gordon. Plus the extension for Michael Porter that took the cap space from Denver. So they were already in that position. Had nothing to do with last year's free agency. Jay the Wakanda, go ahead.
Um, yeah, no, I think that one-on-one between Bird and Wade goes Bird's way because I think Bird gets in Wade's head and convinces Wade to turn a one-on-one game into a jump shooting contest, and we know how that ends. Um, but no, yeah, Denver probably needs to flip Michael Porter Jr.'s contract into depth. I would be curious to see like what the Magic would think about a tire kick the tire trade. But I don't know if well the Nuggets have some draft capital that they could spend. Um, but that's probably what's going to hold the Nuggets back. But I get the Nuggets counterpoint is a Michael Porter lineup if he's producing the way they want him to produce is the counter both to Golden State's lineup, to Memphis's lineup, and um, Phoenix's lineup. Because with Michael Porter Jr., Memphis has to put Jaren on him because Dylan's going to be on Jamal. And then Golden State, you make Golden State choose are they going to put Wiggins on Jamal to slow things down, or are they going to put Wiggins on Porter? And so with Clay getting the opposite one. So I get why they want to keep him. I get the quote unquote puzzle piece he is, um, but I just don't think that is going to work out the way they want it to work out with Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, I think it has to be either Jamal or MPJ, and I say that because they play the same position. And I would love, and this is a guilty pleasure. I would love to see Michael Porter Jr. in Golden State. That is the only team that I want to see Michael Porter Jr. on is Golden State. It would be phenomenal.
It would be. It would be. It would be the one thing that Golden State could do
Agreed.
and then literally say, "We don't care where Victor Wembanyama goes."
Like, and like, okay, does this happen? Absolutely not. But hear me out. It's 31. All right, we'll just round it up to 31. They only have to get within 15%. So that means they have to get $27.25 million. Hear me out. James Wiseman is 9.6. Kevin Looney is 7. You're at 16.6. Patrick Baldwin Jr. is 2.2. You are now at 18.8. You've got Dante DiVincenzo. You're at 4.5. That puts you at 23. You end up running Steph, Clay, Wiggs, Draymond. You get a scrap big coming back, and DeAndre probably because he'll count as a vet man. Jonathan Kuminga, Michael Porter Jr., and Jordan Poole as your 8-man rotation.
Yeah, the only issue with that is Kerr likes to run 9, but I see it. I definitely see it.
You have Iggy. Iggy's still there. He's on the roster. He's making $3 million.
But is he?
Shout out Iggy. We got nothing but heat. My friend Scott, diehard Heat fan, also somebody like myself who loves basketball. Please give him a few seconds to allow the captions to capture up. Because here at Hoops Faces, we are inclusive. We want everybody's thoughts and opinions, man or woman, or like Scott, who happens to be deaf. So if he happens to talk over you when you reply.
I wasn't going to chime in here, Chris. But,
there you go.
You allowing me to come in and speak. All this talk about Love Familia is going across the board. They're all chanting across the league this year. And Jamal Murray hit that clutch shot last night. So I just wanted to chime in here just for a few seconds. We're talking about Shedon Sharpe. Most people don't realize he spent a year and a half outside of organized ball. He's just getting his feet wet again. In fact, I didn't expect him to do so well this early, but his athletic ability, what we saw in his practices, I spent a lot of time at Kentucky's campus, so I saw a lot of players come through. Shedon Sharpe never played an actual game at Kentucky, but he practiced with the team. And the shit he did in the gym was just mesmerizing. But he's just now getting his feet in organized ball again. and what he's been able to accomplish this far is really shocking. In terms of Dwayne Wade and Larry Bird, that poll's got to be a little bit offset. Am I the only one that voted that was alive during the Larry Bird era?
No, I voted. I would vote for Bird. I would vote for Bird, but I can't vote because I made the poll.
Those two guys are both transcendent and their eras. I mean, Larry Bird is more of a team type player. He's going to thrive more in a 5-on-5 set or 3-on-3 set. Going 1-on-1 with Wade would be just a whole different level. And you know, Wade's outside jumper, it's underrated. So if they did get into a shootout from mid range and out, I think Wade could hold his own just in terms of athletic ability and being able to get his shot off against Larry Bird. But if you put Larry Bird in a 5-on-5 set, I'm taking him every single time. His experience, his cockiness, he was one of the most relished trash talkers in the league. He would tell you exactly what he's going to do, what his move was going to do, and then boom, he would just poke it on your forehead. So these are two guys that were transcendent in their eras, and they were both very, very good at what they did.
Yeah, no, and to your Shaedon Sharpe point, 8 points per game, 20 minutes, 46 from the floor, 37 from three, but more importantly, the athleticism and the baseline understanding of defense. I'm high on him.
That's
I
a
wish
dynamic rookie. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish he could have played at Kentucky, Scott. Give us like a player comp because it's hard to see a player in their.
I'll tell you who Shaedon Sharpe is, Chris, and I'm sorry for
There you
cutting
go.
in if I'm cutting in. Shaedon Sharpe is just a more athletic Harrison Barnes. In fact, Harrison Barnes was one of the guys I was evaluating back during his time in AAU. The kid from out of Ames, Iowa. I got him into some tournaments here in Kentucky, and I got a chance to watch his game. And I'm just telling you, Shaedon Sharpe gave me all kinds of Harrison Barnes shade. And in fact, I was trying to recruit Harrison Barnes to Kentucky. The motherfucker ended up going to North Carolina. But in any sense, Harrison
You're
Barnes
still bitter
and
about that
Shaedon
one.
Sharpe had just comparisons in games. But Shaedon Sharpe by far is way more athletic. I can't tell you how many times he hit his head on the backboard just in practice.
Is HB your biggest regret not getting to Kentucky?
He's one of them. He's definitely one of them. I was able to get another guy. Well, I was partially responsible for getting Darius Miller. He actually helped us get a national title. Darius Miller and Harrison Barnes were very similar college players, but Darius Miller ended up playing 3-4 years in Kentucky, where Harrison Barnes was a one-and-done guy. But, you know, I've seen a lot of talent come through Kentucky. You know, you talk about Jamal Murray, and you talk about Tyler Hale, you talk about some other guys. They just have these clutch genes to come into the NBA. They're finding their way through the leagues, and they're just doing what they were learning at Kentucky. So it's just good to see a lot of guys get back. It's also good to see Anthony Davis get his groove back. The guy who's struggling with the injury, he's just a big fella. And you all were talking about Jovic. Jovic is the type of player I would just say he's an abominable snowman with handles. Yeah, he's slow. So the more mobile centers, the more mobile players in his position, they're gonna outshine him, especially getting to the rims and such.
You know, I want to give you a chance to go ahead and talk about the Inclusion Brand Bourbon, if you want to. I think it's awesome to be able to support somebody who's chasing a passion, and I know that Straight Kentucky Bourbon is one of yours. So why don't you go ahead and talk about it real quick?
Well, Inclusion Brand is all about one thing. You know, people shouldn't have to go into a bar or any establishment or any venue and feel uncomfortable. We want to make sure that all cultures are accepted. Everybody can walk into an establishment and feel free, have a good time, have a drink, share a drink together, not worry about whose background is what. We believe that everyone should be included in what we're trying to do. And if you don't like it, if you don't like a certain culture, then we're not for you. We made something that was high quality because we knew we had to beat expectation. People are going to look at us and say, okay, well, this is dedicated to death. This is dedicated to another culture. This is that. So they're going to discount us. But we went the extra mile. We took 6 years to create this blend. So we wanted to impress. We wanted to bring cultures together. We just want everybody to share the same atmosphere and have the same freedom as anyone else to go into any establishment and have a drink and just talk about good times.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you look up top, if you happen to be in Kentucky, latest place is John O's Outlet in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Short drive from Louisville, short drive from Lexington. So if you are there, pick up a bottle and help support, the birth of a brand that wants all, cultures, including the deaf culture, to be equal, because that's what we are about. We're about equity. Appreciate you, Scott. He'll come in and he'll say appreciate you too, so don't worry about it. We got Mark Edwards up here. I had him laughing over a couple of tweets. I know he'll probably chime in. Again, to all those that are down below, I want to say thank you. But for every single person who voted for Dwayne Wade, stop it. Stop it. Like, if you could go back in time, like, just admit you were wrong, okay? Breeze, you opened up. What do you got?
I was just going to tell them, keep with the D Wade hope, because I got hope for that man in that one-on-one setting. All right, he get to that midi, he money. All right, he get to that midi, he money.
Girl, Larry Bird will say, "I'm gonna let you have 6 points." Jada McConaughey, go ahead before we bring in Mark Edwards, everybody.
Hey, Chris, I know because of your position in the NBA, you couldn't bring up this trade for tampering charges, so I will go ahead and put it up there. Harrison Barnes, Rashard Holmes for Michael Porter, Christian Ball, and some draft capital works.
So, like, again, I had this conversation with a brand, not a major brand, but a known brand. You know this brand. And like in this conversation, it was like there was a job, right? So like last year, there was a job offer that was pulled, right? And it came out the league office, and it was based out of Secaucus, New Jersey, because somebody else, they got it. I mean, cool. I wasn't going to move to Secaucus, where I'm from anyway, because like Secaucus costs more to live, got to sell the house. My son already started school and all this stuff. But like, so I'm talking to this brand, and like they're like, "Oh wow, we would have hired you, but like honestly, we thought you were an NBA plant." I'm not an NBA plant. I have never worked for the Kings. I don't work for the Kings. So if you are a brand out there, I'm available. Don't be listening to Jay. There's no tampering.
So is this Sacramento propaganda is costing you money, Chris? Is that it?
No. It's not costing me money directly, right? Like, it's a good joke. I am not well enough known, right? So I don't harbor any ill feelings. It's a weird world. Mark can actually probably speak best to this world. Because as a trainer, he exists in this world. We are like an accessory, right? Good accessory, needed accessory, but an accessory. And so we oftentimes won't get the visibility as others who are really actually going for visibility. We just do what we do because that's what we do, whereas others get brooms and try to make you shoot through 3 hula hoops while jumping off your second foot backwards. Am I right, Mark? Because like there's some cats out there that do that.
Correct.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yo, just drop the name out there.
Yeah, Chris Matthews needs to shoot that guy. That clown.
I'm crying now.
I mean, he should be an NBA mascot. Let me tell it, because all the stuff he be doing, that's what they do at halftime of NBA shows. And then all his clients are shooting terrible this year, and I'm like, if you're gonna use all the propaganda and post all these guys you work with in the summertime, and then they play horrible, they shoot horribly during the season, but you're propping yourself up as the greatest shooting coach of all time. That sucks, especially when I have 5 guys that I've trained that have hit over 200 threes in the NBA. I don't think anybody else has that. Yeah, I can go on. But anyway, what is this nonsense I'm hearing about D Wade versus Larry Bird 101? What is this?
All right, so
who did this?
So I woke up. I had a convo. My son was at swimming practice, and I talked to the high school basketball coaches here, right? And one of the dads of one of the players followed me into the pool after we were having this conversation, and we were talking about the dream team versus the redeem team. and like it's centered around the three best players of that team, right? And so I said, okay, in their prime, it would be a hard matchup. But then when I put this out this morning, there were people who were saying that Dwayne Wade was better than Larry Bird.
Who?
Exactly.
Wait. Who dare speak of Larry Joe Bird, the greatest white man ever played basketball in the history of this earth? The only person that I've seen win 3 straight NBA MVPs while the NBA was in its prime and grittiest. Who said this?
I don't know.
Recency bias. It's a lot of recency bias.
There is.
They don't believe what they see on YouTube. They just don't believe it. It's okay though. It's okay. I forgive you.
And so like I've had to say, and like, bro, when it first started, it was like only 4 people voted for Larry Bird. And like Larry Bird would tell a player exactly what he would do,
mm-hmm.
how he would do it,
mm-hmm.
where he would do it from,
mm-hmm.
and then give him 2 or 3 seconds. Say, are you ready? Because I'm about to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And then still do it.
And they don't realize how tough that white boy was, boy. I'm trying to tell, like, oh man, he's gonna bump, and he's gonna bump Wade. Like it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
So
and Bird is 6'10", 6'11".
Yeah. So I had to put it out there because I saw the comment, and I was like, are there more people who happen to think like this? And then, unfortunately, the answer is yes. And I'm shocked. I'm saddened.
But everyone that thinks like that, unfortunately, they're too young and they didn't get to see Larry Bird play. And it's not that, and I get this all the time. Oh, you old heads. Yeah, I think. And I'm like, wow. It's crazy because I guess I am an old head now, but I'm still young at heart. And I still teach the current players all the newest moves. So let me think about that. My old ass is teaching the newest players the newest moves because last I checked, the NBA had to restructure the palming and the carrying and travel violation rules because Jordan Poole was destroying and messing up everybody's day with the moves. And my old ass is one that taught him. So I guess we're not that old. I've seen Larry, I've seen Dwayne Wade at their best, and there's no comparison. I don't even think D Wade, I mean, if he humbled himself enough to actually acknowledge it, would say, I'm in the same conversation as Larry Joe Bird. I just don't think so.
Look, Breeze is up here. He put this tweet out here. D Wade doing the Superman pose after hitting game point on Larry Bird. Just ain't gonna happen. It's just not.
I know that was gonna hit the Summer Jam screen.
It's fair game. Like why do you think he's gonna win? That's what we want to know.
See, I didn't think he was gonna win, right? But here's my thing, right? If I give D Wade the ball first, right, and then he calls a lot more fouls. Make it take it, call your own fouls. Ain't no refs there. We could swing the game our way, Chris. We could do it.
So you're telling me Wade wins if Bird is wearing a Mavericks jersey. That's what you're telling me. Because here's my thing about it. Larry, to give people proper context, imagine a 6'10" Luka Doncic that was meaner, tougher, and even more like we love that picture of Luka smiling at Devin Booker. If you wanted to scale Larry Joe Bird up, Larry Joe Bird might come to the arena with a picture of him hollering at somebody's girl in the DMs on a shirt. Like, that's where Larry Bird was at with the trash talking. And so if Luka is getting MVP consideration at 6'7", imagine Luka at 6'10",
but more athletic. Because Prime Larry is more athletic than Prime Luca. Just to give you an idea of what Larry Joe Bird was.
This is just 100% accurate.
Larry Bird's best year, in my personal opinion, was 87. 30 points per game, 8 boards, 9 assists. Shot 52 something.
How many threes a game, Chris?
Maybe 1.5, maybe.
Yeah,
exactly.
they didn't take a lot of threes back then. I think he averaged
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, look. I just want to. This is the thing. All right, D Wade was one of my favorite players ever. I'm gonna know that obviously basketball wise, Bird got it, but I can't let D Wade get no court-appointed lawyer. I gotta do some research, and I gotta say something for my boy D Wade. I just can't let him go down like this.
All right, do your research, Breeze. You know where to find us. We here every Monday through Friday. Great setup, by the way.
Chris,
What's up, Scott?
Why are you doing your research? Larry Bird shot another three.
The fact is, Larry Bird was one of the most immaculate passers our game ever seen. If you're going one-on-one, you're taking his ability to pass the ball away. So if you look at it all hands-on, just for the fact of putting a guy into a 5-on-5 lineup, I'm taking Larry Bird.
Yeah, no, me too. But then, to take it back to the original discussion, this trio is the defining trio of one moment in time, right? Larry Bird and Michael Jordan weren't the era. It was Magic and Bird. Michael came after. Michael continued that era. And what we saw was the inverse. It was the end of the Kobe era. And he has LeBron and Wade to carry it past him, right? And when I look at this, I see this interesting matchup of Kobe on Mike and LeBron on Larry, with Wade left out on an island against Magic. That's how I see the game play. And I see LeBron shutting down Larry. But people automatically assumed it was Wade that was going to guard Bird and, LeBron would guard Magic. I don't think it's that way. I think Kobe says, I got Mike, you got Bird. And that's it. That's my opinion. Anybody have thoughts on that?
I don't think LeBron could check Bird because he's not a moving target. It was for those guys to check Dirk Nowitzki, and Dirk Nowitzki, a large portion of his was folded after Larry Bird. One leg fade away, he doesn't. That's Larry Bird. A lot of that is Larry Bird stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when your game is modeled after the original, I mean, it's hard to beat the original because you're modeled after. You don't have all the components. You don't have the original parts and so forth. And the same thing with Jordan and Kobe. Kobe, you studied Jordan. They put, mirrored images of you and Jordan doing the exact same moves, but guess.
Oh, must have got a phone call out on the road.
Oh, hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what you got in your car?
Yeah.
You got in your car, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
Uh-oh. Yeah, all right, we got it. You back.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is I just don't think like I say, they people love to say that the game is more skillful now, and I don't agree because nowadays these guys don't have go-to moves. They don't have guaranteed movements and things they do that they know will work. If I get you in this spot, I know I can do this. They don't have that anymore. They just kind of just play off instinct and play off feel. Whereas the older guys know how to set you up and put you in the exact spot. You got to think about it. How many left-handed skyhooks did Kareem take? Why did they keep letting him get to that mid-post spot on top of the block, and fake baseline and swoop into the middle? You know, they tried to stop it, they just couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Because he understood how to get it off, how to get it done. You know, so I just don't think those I don't think it'd be a good game because at their prime, Larry Bird was dunking on people in his prime. People forget that. Like if he got that step on
Oh,
you,
that's why
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that's why I say Kobe tells LeBron you're guarding Bird because there's no way Wayne's guarding Bird. Wade's not guarding Bird, not Prime.
Yeah.
He has a better chance against guarding Magic.
D-Wade is 6'4". Yeah, he's 6'4".
If
6'3", 6'4". Yeah. So I just don't see
shoes help.
Yeah, I don't see him guarding 6'10", Larry Joe.
Yeah, I don't
Chris,
either. What's
Chris,
up?
do we got to take Dwayne Wade from the Redeem team? That, you know what I'm saying?
Now you want to give away one of your greats
Already?
I'm just saying,
You
like
got
you
worried there.
you said
Look at that.
You said a 6'8", 6'9" point guard, Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, and you want to play a shooting guard with that? I don't know. Like I don't want to take Dwayne Wade or play no
I
three.
mean, you gotta think about it. If LeBron takes Magic, you know what I'm saying? Who's left? Because Kobe.
I don't think LeBron could shut down Larry. I don't think that either. Like I think he's gonna have a tough time, but I don't think he could shut down Larry.
All right. So the real thing is this also speaks to a truth. All right, Dwayne Wade is underrated, and had his career ended differently, I think people would also have a different view of him. But again, this is where the old adage within the NBA comes to fruition. You cannot teach size, right? And I think that's the problem is a lot of people are seeing, oh my God, well, if you take him off of Bird and you put him on Magic, he can't guard Magic. Bro, if you ain't never seen Magic shoot the ball, then just say you never saw Magic shoot the ball. Like, Dwayne Wade's job will be keep Magic Johnson out the paint. Magic will try to back him down. Dwayne's actually was, in his prime, pretty robust paint post defender for a shooting guard. So, like, that's the matchup. But I'm just highlighting how an average NBA fan focuses in on the players they think are the lesser players on the team and say Larry Bird is your weakest link and then Dwayne Wade is your weakest link and Larry Bird is greater than Dwayne Wade, and that's where this conversation is. And when reality, and like people won't like to hear this, in this instance, on a 3-on-3, I'm taking Larry Bird ahead of Magic Johnson. And I'm taking Michael Jordan before I'm taking Magic Johnson. So, like, in this 3-on-3, I don't have Magic higher than Bird. Because it's going to come down to shooting, in my opinion. And I think Jordan and Bird get it done in a close one, 11-8.
It wouldn't be close. It wouldn't be close at all.
It would be close. It would be close.
It would be close.
It would be close because Kobe would will it to be close.
And not only that, but there is a version of this game where Kobe goes Mike into shooting threes. And if that happens, there is a chance, albeit that Kobe's team's 3-on-3 situation has a very lack of they're not as good at rebounding. There's a version of this where Kobe's team
Do you
wins.
guys even take into consideration how physical the 80s were?
Yeah. Well, see, but that's the thing. These three players don't mind physicality. Kobe doesn't mind physicality. Bron does, in his prime, doesn't mind physicality. And Wade definitely doesn't mind physicality. The issue is, how does Team Kobe stop? Because everybody on Mike's team, or Larry's team, or Magic's team, however you see it in your mind, everybody can go to the post, right? And arguably, when they go to the post, has a physical advantage over their defender. So if MJ takes Kobe to the post, MJ's stronger than Kobe. If Larry takes LeBron to the post, Larry's more skilled than LeBron's pretty much has ever seen. And then if Magic takes Wade to the post, that's just a nightmare. And so that's why Jordan's team wins, is because in 3-on-3, there is no help. You cannot help. And so when they figure out that, okay, Kobe's the only one that can shoot, because prime LeBron can't shoot. Like the Miami version of LeBron can't shoot. And once they figure that out, it's going to be really interesting. But LeBron's ego is not to the point where he's going to want to physically take over the game by shooting, right? And so it's the question of who can go who out of their game first, and that's the team that's going to win.
All right, Micah, your hands up. It's been a second. Appreciate your patience. What you got?
Yeah, just real quick, when we take it back to the 3-on-3 perspective, I watched Dirk and some dudes take down two of them. So I like my chances with the GOAT, Larry Joe, and the best point guard of all time. That's just me.
Oh man, that'll be another conversation we'll have one day about who the best point guard in the history of the league is. I want to give some shout outs down below. I want to say shout out to Playbook Sports. They are in the building. If you want to go ahead and get some MIA in your life, check out Bimmy, the Crick Creek, and Jordan, and as they host Playback Sports, usually post game and sometimes during halftime of some great Miami Heat games. Also, Miami Dolphins. I mean, I'm sorry that they're Dolphins fans, but like it is what it is. But they're dope. So go shoot them a follow. You've got E.K. Johnson in the building. Hey, John Bynum Jr. From Signal Hoops is in the building. Signaling Hoops, writer and scout for the Signal. Make sure you shoot them a follow. Keep caught up in some great scouting, international prospects and domestic prospects. Say what's up to Raptors Live TV. They're going to have a great post game tonight because they always do. Join Fahim for the win. Nelly J. You'll probably see the likes of Scotty Hottie or Hottie 2. I don't know. He keeps changing his name. His name is Keenan, but he keeps changing his handle. I don't know what it is this time. Scotty Hims or something. You'll see Zazu and some others up there. Make sure you hit up the post game as well. Shout out to Sir Charles and S Hoops, a Knicks fan. Appreciate you stopping by. Shout out also to a couple other people who are not notable. I have not seen these people before. There's some new people in here. That's dope. Shoot us a follow. Make sure you don't miss the show. All right, Joe, your hand is up for whatever reason. Go ahead.
If you were the coach of the Redeem team and you saw that you had a 3-on-3 against Larry, Magic, and Jordan, and you had your pick, you pick Dwayne Wade over Carmelo in their prime?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. No hesitation. Zero hesitation. You want to know why?
That's why I asked you the question.
Dwayne Wade is a better passer and a better one-on-one defender. You make that trio, LeBron, Kobe, Carmelo, they will take their turns isolating Carmelo Anthony and win 11-1.
God. Okay. Wow.
And now that's tough, but it's fair. What if you swap out Wade for Chris Bosh?
You know, I would like that matchup more than the Carmelo matchup, but then what ends up happening is they isolate Jordan or Magic on him and they just run by him. Like literally, when you look at the Redeem team, the only third player at that time would be Dwayne Wade. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong. I just asked that question.
I would pick Chris Bosh over Wade because of the size and the rebounding. And I think Bosh holds it. Obviously, if MJ puts his foot in the ground, he's getting by Bosh. Yeah, obviously, if Prime Magic Johnson, the 79 through 85 version of Magic Johnson, he puts his foot in the ground, he's probably getting by Bosh as well. It's just, I think that with Bosh's length, he can give them space if it's Magic. And I think that's the matchup. I think if you put Bosh on Magic, he goes Magic into shooting. Not that Magic couldn't shoot, but if you give me a choice of Magic, Larry, or Michael Jordan shooting, and I'm the defense, I want Magic shooting.
I mean, I guess, but like honestly, if you're going that way, I think Dwight Howard would have been a better matchup. Because Dwight Howard,
Dwight Howard mentally is not ready for the amount of vitriol that's going to happen during this game.
I thought Dwight Howard too, but I had to think about it too. I was like, nah.
No. Like, nah.
All right.
Nah.
Okay. All right. But that's my point. There was no other player, right? No other player. Scott, go ahead and hop up in here when you're ready.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if you're playing 3-on-3, also you're going to a half-court set. There's no fast break points. There's no outlet passes. These are things like Dwayne Wade would thrive on an open court. So you're taking all the lanes away. You're taking out the extra outlet pass and stuff like that. So you have to take that in consideration. So if I'm going to a half-court set, I'm going with the old-school guys. Those guys know how to play and process the pill. So if you're looking at that, then you get into the physicality of the game. So with that in mind, a half-court game would definitely suit Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Magic over the other guys.
I 100% agree, which is, again, why I said when I look at it, the only other option that I had other than Wade, in my opinion, was Dwight Howard. Because if you happen to force enough misses, he would have out-rebounded everybody. That's the only way that would have worked. But then you'd be relying on Kobe as the only real isolation scorer of the group, and that would be a problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hit this button. I'm going to do my read. We are brought to you, as we are every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. by slamgoods.com. You can head over to slamgoods.com right now, and you can pick up your copy of this dope Kobe Bryant Winning Is Everything cover that's already framed and ready to go up on your wall. $99 right now, but if you use promo code HoopSpaces, you save 15%. All right? That would be enough to go get you a small bottle of the Inclusion brand Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey so you can go ahead and sip on it while you adore Winning Is Everything sitting up there on your wall looking good. 15% promo code HoopSpaces. Save money at slamgoods.com. Powered by audiolabs.io. If you happen to miss any part of the show, you can catch the unedited version so you can hear it in full context, hear people's opinions and the explanation over on YouTube, powered by audiolabs.io. And then tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 9 p.m., I will be on Playback TV. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get that tweet up here now. If you want to watch basketball with me, there you go. We'll be watching the Jazz and the Timberwolves, or maybe the Celtics and Timberwolves. I don't know. The Timberwolves are here, and we'll be watching. With that, here's your lineup for tonight. The New York Knicks take on the Charlotte Hornets at 7 p.m. The Pacers host the Wizards at 7. Orlando hosts the Raptors at 7. All of this will be on League Pass. Your 7:30 games, Brooklyn hosts Atlanta, which is really in a dumpster fire mood right now, apparently. Cleveland hosts Sacramento at 7:30. And on ESPN, your doubleheader is the Philadelphia 76ers hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. Doc Rivers looks for greatness with another win. Detroit at Memphis at 8. Phoenix at New Orleans at 8:30 and battle for first in the Western Conference. And then I was right the first time. Minnesota at Utah picks up at 9. We'll be picking up that game at 9 and hopefully be able to go through some of the games that are already in action. And then the night closes out on the back end of the ESPN double-double. The Dallas Mavericks host the Milwaukee Bucks. And if the Dallas Mavericks happen to win tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you what, I have no idea what Mavs Twitter will do because they are the maddening team in the Western Conference. 13-11, one more win would put them at 14-11. They would then win 4 straight. And if you look at the seedings, they are sitting at 7th, and they have a chance to move in to 6th place by winning percentage if the Jazz should happen to lose tonight. And then I asked the Mavs fans down below, does this end your consternation and worry? I do not know. I hope it does. Real quick, we'll go around the room. We'll get your last take and what you're looking forward to tonight in the world of basketball. I will say this: there will be no Hoop Spaces review tomorrow morning. My son has a robotics tournament. Kickoff time is 7:30. We will be out the door at 5 in the morning. So no review tomorrow. It'll pick back up Saturday morning. You'll get the full recap, the news and notes that you need, as well as player interviews possibly by a couple of reporters that I have developed some relationships with that allow me to add them so you can get the inside life of the NBA. We'll go first to Micah. We'll let him answer the question I posed to Dallas Mavericks fans, and then he'll give us his last take for the day. Micah, go ahead.
Will it end the consternation? No, Chris, because you know what? I can picture this right now just by the way that I've seen this season go. I would not be shocked even a little bit if they beat the Bucks and then turn around the very next day and get dusted by the Bulls, because that's what this team has been for this season. They are, like you said, the cardiac team of the NBA. Like, they will beat some great teams and have you feeling good, and then get straight mollywopped by a dumpster fire. So, will it end the consternation? No, probably not. That's my final take.
All right. Appreciate it. Up next, we will go to Joe. Joe, appreciate you going through the whole show. What's your final take?
Did you say that there won't be no review tomorrow?
There will be no Hoop Spaces review tomorrow. The game's in too late for me to get in a full recap. Usually I start and I get the first slate done before I go to bed. I wake up early to do the late slate, but I got to get up at about 4:15 so that I can get my son up and get ready to get out the door by 5 so we can get on the road to get there by 7.
No, you said it was it's supposed to be one on Saturday. That's why I was like kind of confused.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So Friday's games is Saturday's review. Saturday's games is Sunday. So I will start the review up after watching San Antonio and Miami tomorrow. So, okay. No review Saturday. There will be a review on Sunday. Is that better for you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like you said, it's like a lot of stuff going on in Atlanta. So, say I'm not really like up for this game. So, say I'm just going to go and eat me a big bowl of spaghetti. That's it.
I don't know why you would do that, but all right. Spaghetti. We will go to Scott. Scott, what is your final take for the day? Spaghetti. Ugh. All right. Scott's not there. Jay, I can't believe you said you're going to eat a bowl of spaghetti. Like, that is like, why? Well, let me ask real quick. Why?
I'm sorry. I just had to do it because I know how you feel about it. So I had to put that in there. But no, I'm sick. I'm going to eat some soup today. But I just had to put that in there. He said spaghetti.
All right. Lying to get a joke. Okay. I see where we're at today. Scott, you back? All right. We'll move to Jay, the Wakanda Tech Support. Jay, final thoughts for the weekend or before the weekend?
My final thoughts, since we won't be seeing each other Friday, is please go watch the Celebration Bowl. It's the Black National Football Championship. It's Jackson State, North Carolina Central. Please stop spreading the rumor that my institution did not pay Deion Sanders the 3 years he was here. He also did not pay for the entirety of the football facilities out of his own pocket. Out of his own pocket, he added amenities to the football facilities that were already being built because it's a state contract. If you know, you know. The Hawks should. As crazy as it is, the Hawks, as crazy as Nate McMillan is, the Hawks should back Nate McMillan over Trae Young. I'm looking forward to the Grizzlies versus Pistons. And free Jabari Smith. I know I didn't get here in time to discuss the Rockets versus Spurs. They're learning very, very bad basketball habits. And in the college realm, if you didn't see it, the Rutgers Ohio State game last night was phenomenal. Even if you don't like college basketball, Just watch the last 5 minutes. Phenomenal.
All right. I had a question there, but you made up for it by highlighting the Ohio State Rutgers game. So it was, you said something very questionable. I'm gonna let it pass because it's the weekend.
What did I say?
It's
What did I
okay.
say?
It's all right. It's okay. We're good. We're gonna let it pass. It's the weekend. We are here. It is Friday. I want to go ahead and thank everybody for making it another week, and go ahead and thank yourself and give yourself a round of applause. Life is hard. We try to make it a little bit less hard here. Hopefully you provided value. If you haven't followed, please shoot a follow. Hit a subscription up to the review. Go to YouTube. Sign up on YouTube. We work at the pace of life. A lot of people say you should do this, you should do that. To which I say most people who do that are getting paid. I'd like to get paid. To that effect, I'm expecting the Hoop Spaces hoodie to arrive today or tomorrow. I'm hoping that it is of good quality. I'll take pictures and share it. That way we can begin selling merchandise. There'll be hoodies, shirts, and a stuffed bear, elephant, and bunny for the kids, because we about the kids, we about the youth here. And we'll be also introducing the Patreon as well, as I'm kind of tired of waiting for Twitter to get their act together in this aspect. And we're going to set it at one rate and one rate only, so that if you do want to support beyond giving a wonderful contribution on Cash App or Zelle, you'll have the chance to be able to support the show at $10 a month. I think the value we provide is worth more, but I also know that it's Christmas and it's also a different economic time. But I think what we can do here will change how sports in the long run, but basketball in the short term is covered. And I think we need to continue this momentum. So I want to say again, thank you. You guys come in and you gals come in every day, and we appreciate it. We truly do love it. The things I'm looking forward to tonight, 9 o'clock on Playback TV, that's when I'll start talking about it, because there's some things that we need to address in terms of Zion Williamson. We need to talk about Chris Paul, and is it time for him to seriously consider electing himself to the bench for the betterment of the team? I want to talk about, what is wrong with the 76ers and the future of Doc Rivers. All of that will be tonight on Playback. And I try to put the tweet up there. It's not letting me put it up there, so I'll try to get it back out there on the timeline. And that's it. I'm going to hit this button so we can get out of here. Brought to you by SlamGoods.com. Head over there to SlamGoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. And if you aren't a Kobe fan, cool. Don't get that beautiful, gorgeous Winning is Everything framed cover. Head over to the Funko Pop and pick up the Ray Allen Seattle Supersonics Funko Pop, as Jay puts his hand up because he knows it's going to break my concentration. Jay, what?
Are you also going to discuss why there's a legacy of Chris Paul teams letting go of the rope in games where it's not going their way? Because that's been a troubling trend for these Phoenix Suns the last 2 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Things get tough, they absolutely let go of the rope. And
absolutely, because people want to blame Doc Rivers for that, and it's not Doc Rivers' fault, because Doc Rivers is a great coach. All right, that's it. Monday, 10 a.m., 9 p.m. tonight. Playback. I'll get the tweet out. Peace out.